What's going on? I am Nando.
And I'm DJ.
And I'm Diggins.
And this is Mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details.
Woohoo!
Woo! Yay! Hooray!
This week, you guys, in theaters, we have the first big release of the summer, besides Fest 9, I guess, but like another big one. Oh my god, a huge blockbuster movie in theaters and Disney+. But it's not what we're going to talk about today.
It's
Oh, no. You poor people. I mean, I guess you saw the title, so you know. But we are talking about a different movie today.
Oh, what if we put in the wrong title just to fool everybody?
What did it say, like Spy Kids 3D or something?
Yeah, what if the title of
Yeah.
this episode is Spy Kids 3D? And only the people who
that
really
big,
listen will know what's going
that big
on.
hot new movie that just got released on Disney Plus, Spy
Yeah.
Kids 3D.
They had to take another pass at it. They want to get those effects just right. I feel like we could, I feel like we could give this movie any title. Like, this movie feels so much like a fake movie, you know?
Yes.
The one we're about to watch. It's so weird.
Totally feel that.
I loved it. We're going to talk about it. What's the name of this movie, guys?
The Tomorrow War.
Boom, bum, bum.
It's very silly.
Yeah. It's on Amazon Prime, you guys. This was going to be in theaters, by the way. I think it was bought
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
for Prime. But
Yeah.
yeah, this was going to be a release.
Yeah, Amazon bought it after, because the pandemic delayed its release, and whatever company made it, I forget which, was like, this isn't worth holding on to, so they just sold it.
Well, they were so right to sell it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They
honestly.
couldn't have been more right.
We're tipping our hands a little bit here, boys.
Yeah, well, we're doing this episode. Can anyone describe the chain of events that led us to actually talking about this movie that, as of last week, was the lowest vote getter in the poll and did not seem like it was even kind of on our radar?
Yeah, so as
Active
Nando
disdain
mentioned,
for our own community.
hey, I wouldn't say that. What I would say is maybe the vocal minority deserves to be rewarded with their loyalty?
Oh my god,
that-
did we get filibustered? Is that what happened?
We kind of did.
We kind of did. And you know what? It preserved not democracy, but like a weird-ass movie. So that's
So you're
nice.
right. Filibustering works. I've never mind. I've changed my position.
Yeah, also on coal and fossil fuels. I've changed my position there too. I'm just a leaf in the wind. But no, it was like what happened? It's something that happened between mostly us, right? Did someone reach out to us on Twitter as well?
Well, so there were a couple things, and I guess I can go back in the Wayback Machine. So the starting point is we actually got delayed for the recording because I purchased a house, and so like that
Like a
delayed,
chump.
like a real chump, and that led to some delays in us recording because recording this like I think the day Black Widow comes out, which makes this even funnier.
Yes, Friday, July 9th. Excuse me. Yeah.
Okay, so.
So if any time travelers want to come and stop us from recording this podcast, now you know how.
They wouldn't do that. They would recruit us into the future to solve the problem the podcast creates by accident. Like, they would go about it in the wrong way. They've never seen any of these movies before.
So here's what happened. So we put up the poll, and Tomorrow War got 12.4% of the vote. Spy Kids 3D got the plurality with 36.9%. So friend of the pod, Roger, tweeted at us, tough vote, pick Tomorrow War because I'll probably never watch it but want to hear about it. And then Alex Lee, friend of the pod, said, I need this week's pod to cover the Tomorrow War, 100%. And he said, could we go back in time and do this movie instead of Sky High, alluding to the fact that when he won his contest thing, he had us do Sky High.
Well, we bullied him into picking Sky High.
Yeah.
And then there were even more replies at the Sibley's, Josh Sibley's. I'm sorry. He was asking why we didn't do Collateral Beauty. Maybe next week, Josh. But Steve B at Wiggles5 said, having now seen Tomorrow War, I want to change my vote. If any movie was made to be nitpick, it's got to be this. So we had some Tomorrow War steam kind of, flowing into the decision making.
But then a couple friends of the pod kept talking up how stupid it was to us in private.
Yes.
And then also, I personally started seeing some tweets on my timeline from people I follow talking about how stupid this movie is, and I was like, I feel like I kind of want to know now.
Yeah, it came
and
out.
It was a slow process.
I want to say it came out on like the 4th of July or maybe like the day before that.
It was July 2nd, so like 4th of July weekend. Because
so I think on the 4th of July I watched about 20 minutes of it, maybe a half hour or something. And I, in the group, was like, actually, we have to do this one. It's pretty good. And here we are, doing Tomorrow War. We'll get to Black Widow eventually, and we'll get to Spy Kids eventually, too. But I think we made the right choice.
Yeah, I think so, too. And we'll get to Spy Kids, right? Like you said, we'll get to Spy Kids eventually. So
you'll just have to wait as long as the guy who picked Moon did.
Yeah.
Which was Roger, right? Was it Roger the person who...
I think so.
I
can't remember.
Roger, if I have that wrong, I'm super sorry.
Now that I'm thinking about it, though, Spy Kids is actually a pretty good lead into Black Widow because she's a spy. That's like a bad movie about what happens when they grow up.
And she started being a spy when she was a kid.
She did. She did, though. She gets recruited into the little Black Widow program when she's just a little child. Well, and also, Florence Pugh is of indeterminate age. Can't really decide how old that character's supposed to be. We'll get to it next week.
I had asked you guys if we wanted to do Spy Kids this week and save Tomorrow War for a future week, but Nando, I believe it was you who said if we didn't do Tomorrow War for this pod, we were never doing it.
Yeah, I think it's like, what's the point? People will not care about it. They don't anymore anyway, but also I won't, so then that'll be enough.
Yeah, its cultural moment is already basically over. If we wait any longer, that's it.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so
that's how we got here,
guys.
Folks.
Yeah, this is the Tomorrow War on Amazon Prime.
Did you guys get any Amazon packages over the past few weeks that had just Tomorrow War ads on it?
I didn't. It's a bummer because I wanted one or two now when I found out that was an option.
Yeah, I got a couple. One was the full box, and I wish I would have saved it, but I was just kind of trying to declutter. But then one was just the tape had the Tomorrow War, July 2nd. So yeah.
Nice.
I haven't gotten any Amazon packages period in this time frame, so
is that because you're a better person than us, Diggins? You don't support Jeff Bezos?
I mean, I'm going to pretend that's the answer, and not just because I just tend not to buy very many things. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the thing you said.
No, you guys. Jeff Bezos is cool and tough, and he should definitely go into space. And, hey, who knows what happens up there? You never know. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't, We'll see. We'll see.
I said when I was watching this movie, I texted the guys, this is the podcast that will get me canceled. And I didn't think this would be the direction, but we're close to getting me canceled right now.
Yeah, space travel, they haven't worked all the kinks out yet. They're on their way, but maybe not 100%. But I think Jeff can do it. Anyway,
I just hope that in his desperate competition with whatever the Virgin guy's name is, Richard Branson, and whatever other billionaire wants to do it,
Elon Musk too, right? They're all doing it.
Yeah, they're all in that fucking
I just hope that they all make sure that their employees take the same care and attention and get the same rest that they need that they do with all their other products when they're making their spaceships.
Yeah, that's a good point. Hopefully the spaceship has a big it's tied together with tape from leftover Tomorrow War tape. You can see it on the outside of the spapeship, The aliens that pick up the debris will be like, oh god, this movie, that was pretty good. Yeah. Hopefully this is not the golden record we send out to the world. Tomorrow War. But guys, we're talking about the Tomorrow War. 2021's 2020's is probably Tomorrow War.
Woo!
Who is in charge of the IMDb summary this week?
This will be Diggins.
I am.
This is such a tough one.
So, Diggins, can you
Yeah.
at least tell us if it's lying to us?
Or give us any hint you want. Whatever hint you find appropriate.
I'm
or
curious
none,
if
but
it's lying to us.
you're in the driver's seat, so have some fun.
It doesn't think it's lying to you, but it is.
Oh, fuck. All right,
Okay, who goes first? I forget.
I believe that... Nando,
I guess...
or I would get to choose, right?
Yeah, you get to choose.
Oh, I want to go second, so I'm going to defer.
That's fine. Remind me, what's the name of the guy? The main character?
Dan, I almost said Dan Crenshaw.
Dan Crenshaw. Oh my
He
god!
wishes. He wishes.
He's got a jib jab version of this video with his face over Chris Pratt's body or something. You ever see that ad he did where he parachuted? Not really though, but like
where he was like, "We gotta parachute in and fight the dangerous insurgents that are the Democrats trying to vote in Georgia."
Yeah, that went well. He's a cool guy.
Dan Forrester.
Dan Forrester, okay. After a group of mysterious time travelers appear in the year 21, whenever this takes place.
I could tell you.
Teacher, what'd you say?
I could tell you what year it is if you want. Just
Is
from my
it
memory of the
2021?
No,
What
it's
is it?
2022.
2022.
Okay. In 2022, retired Marine / school teacher Dan Forrester has to go forward in time to stop an alien menace. I'm not saying alien menace. To stop an unknown force from destroying the world. That's what I got.
All right, DJ.
Okay. In the year 2050, there are only 500,000 humans left on the planet, leaving humanity's only hope to go back. Leaving humanity's only hope to go back in time to recruit more soldiers. Dan Forrester must team up with an unlikely hero to prevent an alien menace from human extinction.
Mm.
This is really difficult because both of you could not be more wrong.
Ah, damn it.
Okay. Do you want to do other stuff, like have us guess words or whatever?
Yeah, I want to do the word tiebreaker. You just give me a word.
No. Okay.
And there's certain words that if I feel like they're way too general, I'll be like, but there's some I'm looking for here. There's some I'm looking for here.
Okay.
I'm going to say...
Actually, there's... No. I'm going to change the rules because we change the tiebreaker every time.
Go for it. Yep.
I have thinking of one specific word that is in this summary that neither of you said.
Okay.
I've got to guess.
And the first one to say it wins.
Okay. So, I start or DJ starts?
Nando,
you went first.
Right,
so you
okay.
go first again.
Father.
No.
So I'm going to go with daughter.
No.
Oh, damn.
I'll say white spike.
No.
Does it have to be an exact word, or can it be like a derivative of the word? Like a shortened version of the word?
If you're close enough, I'll give it to you, but there's a specific word I'm thinking of.
I want to go with science.
No.
Maybe not scientist.
How about extermination?
No.
Military.
No.
American.
No.
Oh, that was a good one. Apocalypse?
No. And I'm going to give you another hint here.
Okay.
You were on the right track, and you have veered off it.
Oh, okay.
Family.
Yes.
Damn it!
Yay!
No!
I gave you the hint after an equal number of guesses.
That's
so.
fair. Yeah,
but
I was waffling between father and family when we started too, but I figured father was a little bit more on the nose. But yeah, family, huh? Is it to save his family or something like that?
Yeah.
No, you guys want to hear this?
Yeah, let's hear it.
A family man is drafted to fight in a future war where the fate of humanity relies on his ability to confront the past.
Come on. No!
Wow. Yeah, okay.
Hey, my first hint was it doesn't think it's lying to you, but it is.
That was a fine hint. God.
Yeah, it was a good hint. I think it was fair. I will take my prize.
A family man? That's... Oh,
a family man.
He is
Doesn't
a
even say his
family
name.
man, I
Doesn't
guess.
even mention the aliums. They're not important.
Yeah. Well, I do remember them kind of maybe hiding them in the original trailer, so I was like, maybe they couldn't say what he was hunting, but, like, it's aliens. Like, it's pretty clear from the beginning. I mean, actually, it's not clear from the beginning, but it should be clear from the beginning that it's aliens.
I
Interesting.
think you mean a creepypasta meme monster from 2007.
I was going to say the fucking Quiet Places or whatever. There are a couple of aliens that look like these aliens. Quiet Place for sure. What's the other one? It's not Cloverfield. It's not Edge of Tomorrow, even though this movie is worse than Edge of Tomorrow in every way. A good movie.
Edge of Tomorrow is a great movie, yeah.
Yeah, Edge of Tomorrow rules. And their aliens are kind of interesting looking, too. But no, there was another movie with, like, weird fucking, like, big-armed, creepy-crawly aliens, and I can't remember which ones it is, but they're so in my head right now.
I mean, if we're going, like, way back, like Independence Day, like...
yeah, a little. I would say a little bit like that. I'm thinking of something more recent. I do think we've fallen, in the last couple of years, into this very kind of boring monster design that this movie and A Quiet Place, and probably a couple others that I'm, like, blanking on, have in common. And I hate it. But
I mean, I don't mind it as like a singular design, but the fact that it's become like the standard, you're going to have aliums in your action movie design makes it really boring.
Yeah.
Also, like, I don't know. I feel like you can't mix those aliens with the premise of this movie, where they are an extinction level event, and like we have the home turf. Like in the movie Alien, it's always because the human team is away, and and they're idiots beyond belief. But that's how they get bamboozled. But like, I cannot believe for a second that these aliens cause the extinction of the human race. They're not bulletproof. They're not smart.
Well, sometimes they are.
Yeah,
it depends on who's shooting
wildly
at them. We're still figuring that out.
How's this? They're not fire or explosion proof.
No.
They're not super tall. They're stabbable. Like it's insane that like what it's not that there are like hundreds of millions of them. It seems, right? It's like they're only ever getting outrun because it's only like a small group of people. Like, it's crazy to me that this is how lazy the writing was. It's like, okay. What if in the future everyone's dead and it's just because of like generic monsters? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? They can't even like talk or make a cell phone. Like, we can outsmart them. They don't have camouflage. They shoot spikes. What are we doing?
I mean, I guess they can fight the force that we sent to deal with them because they're wildly under-equipped and not trained and stuff. But, yeah, I don't know.
You mean just guys?
Yeah, just guys.
They can fight some dudes that we just dumped in the sky like 500 feet up. For no fucking reason.
Which... I know we'll talk about it, but this is a bit from the trailer, right? In the trailer, there's like people falling from the sky, right?
And it's the first thing you see in the movie, so like whatever.
Yeah, it's the opening scene.
The movie spoils it immediately.
Well, it's like, I guess like the how it comes about, but like whatever. But like, it's so crazy that like the people we send to fight only have a 30% return rate. Well, I wonder why. Maybe don't drop them from the fucking sky, you fucking idiots.
Well, okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah,
Nando, as the winner,
that was
I'm
sorry.
movie,
as the winner of the game, you get to
sorry.
say how you feel about the movie first.
It is, without a doubt, the dumbest movie involving time travel I've ever seen. Here's the thing. Here's my thought about this movie. Besides the fact that it's kind of boring when it comes to like all the people in it, but whatever, they're fine. I don't know. I like Sam Richardson, Chris Pratt's whatever. The wife is fine. The dad is fine. They're all fine. But and the other characters.
I wouldn't say these are great roles.
No, yeah, I think they're watchable in this movie, more or less. But when you get past that and you get past like the effects, which are okay, like the plot of this movie every single decision made by everyone makes no sense. It's all just like and I was talking to Hannah when I watched this. I'm like, when we finished, I'm like, she's like, oh, that was okay, and I was like, I just couldn't hate all these characters more because it's like
nice.
Everything about it, like all the small choices they make throughout the fight are dumb, and the way they, solve the problem is dumb. But the central conceit of the movie is also insanely dumb, and it's kind of like if in Jurassic Park, when in like the first one, Richard Hammond went to Dr. Grant and was like, I've created a dinosaur park. There's gates, but they don't work. And it's going to be dark, and you're going to be chased by all the dinosaurs. And it's an island, so, get fucked. And then Dr. Grant was like, that sounds a little dangerous, but I guess it's okay. Like, at least in Jurassic Park, you thought it wasn't going to go as badly as it did. But in this, it's like, how did this idea get past any second person? This seems like it's just so, and because of that, everybody that's involved I hate, because they're all doing a really dumb thing. And it's like, yeah, you deserve to get white spiked. I don't know what to tell you. Like, if you think this is a good idea, go explode then. That's what you're going to do. Like, even when the movie has them make mistakes, they always, because, there's stuff like that. Like, central conceit of the movie's stupid. But there's also, small mistakes characters make, like, little quick judgment calls. And I'm like, every time one of those happened, I was like, are we leading to something? Like, is someone going to secretly be the bad guy or something? Because, none of this makes any sense. There's got to be something. And there's nothing. And it's so incredible how dumb this movie is. I didn't care for it. I did appreciate the product placement. I thought that was pretty fun. I like them delicious Coors, the banquet beer. That was pretty fun.
Let's go.
And Chris Pratt's character is terrible. I hate him. I hated him from the beginning. The first thing he does sucks. And everything after that sucks too. So yeah, it's a really weird movie. But I also think real high level stuff. The conceit is dumb. Not conceit is dumb, but the fact that it's like time travel movie that they can't quite do right, mixed with alien movie that they can't quite do right. It's like, even if you just did one of these, I don't think it would work. But you can iron that out a little bit and flesh out some of the details. But because this movie is so needlessly complicated, it just collapses under its own weight immediately. So yeah, I haven't seen Boss Baby 2, but I feel like that probably makes more sense than this, which is saying something. Yeah, I didn't like it. It's so weird. It's kind of funny how weird it is, but also it's just so hard to just it's so weird. That's what I got. It's also long. It's real long.
Oh, so long.
It keeps going. You think it's over, but it's not.
It ends and then it keeps going, like many movies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's fair. I don't know. What about you, Diggins or DJ? I can't remember how this works.
DJ goes next, I believe.
DJ,
okay.
What did you think?
I'm trying to think what I can add that you didn't already say. So here's I totally agree in that this movie makes no sense. Here's how bad this movie is. I think this movie is easily so much worse than even Money Plane. Now, Money Plane didn't have the production budget that this movie clearly did, but the lack of sense this movie even tries to make is ridiculous. And, at least Money Plane had the decency to only be 90 minutes. This movie, so it ends twice, but the crazy part is sometimes these movies end at the hour mark and then they go for another hour, and it's okay, you really just couldn't figure out a good runtime. But this movie ends at the 1:36 mark the first time. With credits, it probably would have been an hour 45 minutes. That's an acceptable length for a movie. That is like a theatrical release movie. And this isn't me doing the, shorter movies are better. Like, it ends. It has an ending that would have been very satisfying and acceptable. But they add a MacGuffin to pad another 45 minutes to the movie, and I couldn't believe it while I was watching it. And, like, I texted you guys, like, I can't believe I'm still watching this movie, in the fact that I can't believe this movie is still going. And it's not even what happens next is interesting. It's just stuff.
Yeah.
It's all
it's
just
actually,
stuff.
yeah.
It's actually somehow the dumbest part of the movie.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, it's like they took this movie and there was a really, really, really dumb idea and stuff, but then they wrote it, and then all the writers got bonked on the head and wrote the second half. And it's like, how could that be dumber than the first half? And it's amazing, but they've succeeded. It's so dumb.
I hated this so much. I really don't have much more to say. I'll have much more to say in the details of it. The one thing I will add, we had the honor of doing a movie that the unabashed just pro-military parts of this movie are in fucking sane, but also so are the anti-military parts at some points. It didn't know where to go.
Pro-military, anti-government, I would say, or something like that.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Actually, it's
the standard posture for your temperamentally conservative action movie.
Right, that's fair. It's pro-military, anti-government. Yeah, it's true. So.
But yeah, my arm was tired from saluting. Like, I was saluting everything. It was amazing.
Oh my god! So, I'll wait for further comments. Diggins, what about you?
So the tweet that finally convinced me that I had to watch this movie was one I shared with you guys. I remember this. It was by Yusuf Cole at YouMeYou. It reads as follows: "The Tomorrow War is like if someone watched Starship Troopers without realizing it's satirical." Which, it's a movie about how like a constant war posture drives us to fascistic impulses, and American military imperialism tends to shovel bodies into problems thoughtlessly and without any real care, that leads to countless people getting like outright killed or chewed up and spit out with their lives ruined, and just generally is critical, except that it thinks all that's cool and good.
Because it is all cool and good, Diggins. The military is cool, and war is cool. It solves all problems.
So it's like, DJ kind of alluded to this, but it's crazy to watch this movie, like, have these scenes where people are just like, their lives are thrown away for no reason by an unfeeling military apparatus. And then the next scene, Chris Pratt's like, "God bless the United States of America. The U.S. military is the greatest force on earth." I'm like, what? Did you watch the previous scene? What are you talking about?
He's just a real good American family man. He gets it, Diggins, in a way that I guess you, a square, never could.
Yeah, come on, Diggins, be cool.
Salute. Do a salute right now, just to make penance for what you did.
In your chair.
Yeah,
I'm
salute
doing it the British
Pratt.
way.
Stand up and salute.
Very good.
I am saluting, but I'm doing it the British way, where you're like slap your hand palm outwards across your forehead.
I think that way looks cool. I didn't even realize it was the British way. I thought it was just the way cool people did it. Like how the way Fred Durst put his hat backwards or like a little to the side. You're like, that's a cool way.
No, it's the British style of salute. Like how they say lieutenant instead of lieutenant.
That's true.
Yeah. What happened to the British forces in this movie?
What happened to any other forces?
All the militaries died immediately. They say that in like 5 seconds at the start, remember?
I do remember that.
I legitimately missed that because I guess I'm an idiot.
Well, this feels like it could.
After 5 people showed up on a soccer field and were like, "We need you to kill yourselves for us." The entire world military was sent to the future and they all died.
Yeah. Oh my god! All right, well, let's talk details. We're gonna spoil this movie, and by spoiling it, we're gonna go through the details as they happen because there's no real surprise reveals except for one kind of, but it doesn't matter. And then after that, Like, there's the end of the movie that we kind of have been dancing around, but you can't... It's not spoilable because, like, it doesn't matter. It just is.
It's also, like, so stupid that, we'll say it and you'll be like, that's not what happens. They're lying.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this movie, let's talk about it. How does it open? You guys want to talk about the opening, which is its own stupid problem?
Well, we kind of alluded to this, but it opens with we begin in action scene because that's how we must function with this bullshit.
You gotta show the people that people with guns are gonna fall at some point in the movie, so they get interested, and they don't just switch it off when it seems like it's gonna be the Tomorrow War, a movie about a soccer party.
Yeah, if people turn on our movie and they think for even a second that it might be about people talking instead of cool action scenes, then that's a disaster. We can't have that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bunch of people are falling out of the sky and they fall into a fucking well, they either die or they fall into a pool and are okay for some reason. Which, like, putting on the nitpicking hat, you're still dead, but whatever.
Yep. Yeah, they fall like 200 feet above a high rise. And then land on the pool on the roof of that. So, like, yeah, they're falling the height of a bridge that people jump off of frequently. But also, I feel like the injuries in this movie are all over the place in terms of, like, what counts and what doesn't count. So, I don't know, Chris Pratt's pretty good. I don't know what to tell you. And he uses his superior water-breaking strength to break everybody else's fall that lands in the water. I want to say there's some people that land on the ground next to, like, on the cement next to the water that are fine. It's like...
I think they've all gotten out of the water. I would hope anyway.
But
feel
the pool
like
isn't like the whole roof. There must be some people who landed on the concrete, right?
Well, I think they die, right?
I guess they must have died.
I'm pretty sure they die.
I have to watch it again, but yeah.
No, you don't. Oh, well, you mean that part?
That's
yeah,
true.
Sure, why not?
I won't, though. I could, but I won't. So, yeah, that part's weird. But then we go back to the beginning of the story. Woohoo.
Yeah. December 2022. Exterior, suburbia.
Yeah. A handsome American family man. Chris Pratt's guy. What was his name? I already forgot.
Dan Forrester.
Dan Forrester. Dan Crenshaw. He goes down.
Dan Forrester Crenshaw.
Yeah. He comes to the house where he lives with a nice old pack of Coors, the banquet beer, in his hand.
Well, we're all watching the World Cup.
Does the World Cup usually take place in December?
No, but they say this, and this I believe this still will happen, but because it's Qatar is hosting in 2022, it's too hot in there. It's too hot to play in the summer, so they'll have to play in December, which is a thing that is going to happen.
Right.
But yeah, just an interesting thing to put in the movie. So yeah,
that's so funny. I'd like to believe that the time travelers went to that, but the summer. And they're like, wait,
they didn't know.
It's the World Cup year in Qatar. And they're like, oh, right, they fucking gave it to Qatar, those idiots. The place is too hot for soccer.
Was that the one where they were talking about building a giant artificial cloud that would block out the sun?
That was that happening.
One. That's
what?
Not happening.
What happened to the cloud? How hard can that be? Man.
Every Silicon Valley person tells me the cloud is the future.
That's a great point.
Wow.
They mean the big giant cloud we live in.
Just fully sandbagging that one, huh? Okay. I see how it is.
Hey, listen, man.
I was taking a nice sip of my drink. I liked it. I just couldn't react quickly enough.
I didn't like it, but didn't want to be mean.
That's fair.
And now look where that got us.
So the World Cup, you guys, you remember the World Cup, right?
Yep.
It's that thing that we have parties for.
Well, I think this was just a Christmas party, and they had the World Cup on because, yeah. Would they actually have any games on that close to Christmas? Probably now I gotta do some. All right, 2022 World Cup schedule.
I believe the World Cup is the last game will be December 18th that year because
you are
was a conversation we had previously.
Well,
so
this is wrong.
Well, this could be like an early Christmas party. I
don't think it's on Christmas. It's just they're having a Christmas party with a bunch of friends before Christmas.
Didn't they say the date was like December 22nd? Or no, it was just December 2022? Oh, yeah. Never mind.
They didn't get any more specific than that.
It'd be great if they did get that specific, just so they could...
Yeah, to advertise the World Cup. Just
as friend of the movie, wow, as friend of the pod, Alex, I think Alex was pointed out that makes this a Christmas movie because of his 7 days running out after that.
That's right.
There's no way this is a Christmas movie.
Oh, is he like Santa Claus?
They never tie Christmas back into the movie. It's just a thing that happens.
Here's the thing. It's exactly as much of a Christmas movie as Die Hard because it's set on Christmas and it's about family.
Yeah, it is about family and reconciling with a specific family member who hates you for no reason.
But
I guess in John McClane's it makes a little bit more sense.
He has a good reason to hate the family member that he needs to reconcile with, but they don't. We'll get there.
The problem is most of this movie doesn't take place during Christmas. Only that first scene, because a year after that initial World Cup scene is when the movie takes place.
That's true.
Oh, you're right. It's 2023 for most of the movie.
Yeah, so it's a Christmas movie in that it's technically part of it is Christmas. So you can watch the bit with the World Cup, and that's the Christmas part.
And
it is Christmas in your heart whenever you believe.
You should probably just stop watching the movie there because you get the dumb scene that culminates in, and then you're like, just imagine it gets dumber from there, and you're good.
Yeah.
You don't need the rest.
Okay, so they're watching the World Cup.
Well,
Wait,
first,
Chris Pratt get a phone call before that?
He gets the phone call before that, and he loses out on the big job. What's the big job? Don't worry about it.
Wait, real quick, because I did want to point this out. Good shout out to the Army Research Lab, a real organization that exists that I sometimes work with.
But DJ,
really cool.
The world just discriminates against the poor U.S. soldier. You know, you can't get anywhere in life as a soldier because everyone just thinks that you didn't do anything or whatever the hell. I don't know.
It's crazy.
He's sad because he's like, my soldier experience means I'm good for this. And they're like, not really? I don't think so. And then you're supposed to be sad because the poor soldier man got snubbed. I don't know.
It is crazy how untrue that fact is. That, how... Well, I don't know. We don't have to get into it. But, that's a pretty... Especially in the civilian side of, working for the military... About how that's a pretty good qualifier if you were a former soldier. But whatever.
You know, one might point out how insanely deferential most of American society is to former soldiers. You know,
but with good reason, right, Diggins?
They are the heroes.
I'm pleading the fifth. I can't get canceled.
Diggins, and you wouldn't say that we as a culture are lean too much to people who we just kind of send to go places and kill people, would you? You wouldn't say that. Wouldn't say
maybe
that.
Guys, maybe Diggins won't, but I will because we also don't really take care of our veterans either when it comes down to it. You know, we leave them on the street if they get there. We're pretty cool.
That's true. If someone is irreparably broken by their experiences in the military, which is fair because it's very traumatic, then fuck them. That's our society attitude. But if you're okay, then damn, you can do anything you want.
It's true. You get whole stadiums of people to just applaud you based on knowing nothing about you.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
man. We're gonna get
speaking of whole stadiums, he goes into the house. But before that, he breaks this garbage can because he's a mean jerk.
He's so mad. He got turned down.
I mean, come on, man.
Also,
he just didn't get a job. I don't know.
Do you remember what they say is the problem? They're
he doesn't have private sector experience.
Yeah, that's bananas. Just on its face. We're sorry that you've picked two jobs to be of service. To be fair to Dan Forrester.
You picked two jobs that are equally of service to society. That's what you did.
Well, the teacher one is actually legit, right? He's a teacher. And that's
I'm saying two jobs that are equally of service. Yes, definitely. Definitely, both of the jobs he did are equally important to society.
Well, to be fair to him, he's also a bad teacher. You know?
Yeah, there is that.
He doesn't seem to really like his students or enjoy his job, so I don't know what to tell him.
We only see him teach after the apocalypse has been announced. Maybe prior to the apocalypse being announced, he's a great teacher. He might be awesome.
That's fair.
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
What kind of science is he supposed to be teaching? High school science, it would seem, that reasonably covers both photosynthesis and volcanoes.
I like maybe an earth science class.
Yeah, I can see that.
Earth science is usually like geology and stuff. It's usually not botany.
Well, like, I don't know. I feel like in 8th grade, I took like an earth science class that was just generic science. Like, and I don't know.
Well, yeah. In lower grades, definitely that happens. But I'm talking about like they seem to be high school students, right?
Yeah, that's
usually
fair.
By high school, you're taking like biology or chemistry or physics.
Nah, brah, earth science. It's science in Earth.
Yeah. I mean, technically, almost all science is on Earth, you know?
Actually,
physics is an Earth science when you really get down to it.
We don't know that he teaches about volcanoes. Just one of his students is mad into volcanoes. Right?
I mean, sure, but I guess in the universe of this movie, this kid might be so obsessed with volcanoes that he brings it up in the wrong science class constantly. But
yeah.
He's also
supposed to believe that person exists.
Yeah, I'm going to say watch out for that kid. He seems like he might be dangerous. I don't know what...
He's the world premier volcano expert. No one knows more than him about volcanoes.
That's true.
It's him and no one else.
Yep. I mean, I do feel like I understand with Chris Pratt. We'll get to it, but it's always nice to, let your friends help, bring people in that are close to you. So he's throwing this kid a bone. But, yeah, he's the teacher. But okay. So the teacher, and he didn't get the big job. But a bummer. Breaks his garbage can because he's a jerk. And then maybe he didn't get the job because they were like, yeah, he threw a big tantrum when he was at the office. He's probably going to do that all the time. You get that under control. But then he goes home into his house and sits down with his daughter to watch the World Cup.
Yep.
And then what happens?
He says some weird shit about being the best, and it's clearly very obvious even to his small child that he's like really upset. Because he can't keep it together for even 1 second.
Which, like, come on, guy. Dude, it's Christmas. Be happy. You didn't get your job, whatever. We're sorry that
I know you're disappointed, but you have a 9-year-old daughter. Don't tell her some weird shit.
And you have a job.
Yeah,
it's not like he didn't get a job. He didn't get the job. So, like, yeah, I don't know, man. You'll be fine. But he sits down to watch the big game, the soccer game. Oh, we didn't say who his wife is. It's the one from Glow. What's her name?
Betty Gilpin.
Betty Gilpin, that's right. Very supportive, wifely wife. That's it. But then she's like doing the party. And, God, can you imagine having a Christmas party and then coming back in and everybody's like, he knocked over the garbage can and now he's crying. What are we all supposed to do? Is this his house?
Yeah. The vibes of that party must have been rancid.
Yeah. But, I mean, that was all swept under the rug immediately, because then what happens? What amazing, fantastic thing happens? Soccer becomes interesting.
Someone's like, hey, what's this tuna Santa thing? I want to give it a try. It looks kind of weird.
Oh, yeah.
And then the whole party just, like, erupts into uproarious laughter. Like, oh, my God, tuna
Very
Santa. Good. That's so funny. It's like tuna salad, but tuna Santa.
It's very American.
And then for like 45 minutes, they're like talking about the tuna, how to make it, how like their family, they don't leave cookies for Santa, they leave tuna for Santa, and everyone thinks that's weird, but they're like, Santa gives us the best presents. And then everyone kind of buys into the experience of tuna Santa, and then we jump forward a year, now everyone's doing tuna Santa. You can't stop with tuna Santa. And there's a tuna shortage in the town. They don't know what to do. They can't make tuna Santa. So now the movie's is like a series of trying to go to other town supermarkets to find more tuna to make the tuna Santa, and it's pretty funny what erupts from there.
Well, then what's his name's cameo I thought was actually terrific. Kurt Russell as Santa,
yeah.
Right? Because as we know, probably from Christmas Chronicles movies, maybe his magic is probably powered by cookies or something, and this tuna thing actually is like causing him to wither away and die. So he needs to get... Did anybody remember what the name of his little elf child was? Like Rafangle or something? He needs to get that one Australian kid from Deadpool to help kill all the tunas in the world.
Yes, then he could have cookies.
Yeah.
Honestly,
it was a B.
great
It was
movie.
like Bompangle or something. I don't know. Movie was good.
Belphegor.
Bell, yeah.
No, that wasn't it. That's a different
It
thing.
was a B, though. It was like
Belschnickel?
Definitely a B.
Belschnickel. Yeah, that sounds right.
Was it actually Belschnickel?
Yeah, it was him.
that-
He's
I
in
think
it.
It's something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty close, if not right on the money.
It might be Belschnickel, but I think you're very close.
Yeah, it could be that Belschnickel is like the real, weird German man who sneaks into people's house or something in like folklore that they
I mean,
retrofitted
Belschnickel
into this
is
child.
indeed is literally that, yes.
Ah, okay, there we go. Good stuff. But DJ clearly had a little too much tuna because his brain has mercury poisoning. Because Diggins, you tell me what happens at the party.
All right, so they're watching the World Cup, and someone on one team gets the ball and is driving towards making a goal. Don't ask me details. I barely know sports Americans care about, let alone soccer.
mean, it doesn't matter.
But then, as he's about to make the big goal and win the big game for all his hungry boys out there.
Love that sketch. Oh, my God. Go, touchdown.
A giant portal opens up in the middle of the field, and a bunch of... For some reason, the people on the other end of this portal decided the best way to convince everyone that this was a cool, chill thing they didn't need to worry about was to send a bunch of paramilitary forces with guns pointed at the players through first.
Right? What the fuck was that? Like, I was so weird. It was so weird.
But then the nice lady who's not wearing a helmet comes out and says, "It's okay, everybody. There's no reason to worry. I'm from the future and we're all going to die in 30 years, so you got to sacrifice your lives for us right now."
That is what happened. That is what happened.
Now, I have two questions. First
I have like
one,
30.
I wonder if there was anybody at the party that was like, does this happen every time? I haven't watched the World Cup before. Is this part of it?
Is this like one of those like viral ad campaigns?
That's the other one, yeah. I heard this was something that I heard somebody talk about on a podcast. It was just like, how long would it take you to figure out that this isn't for Doritos or something? Like, because there was one of those this year, honestly, in the Super Bowl where it was like they took a video of the actual, like, football, and then it turned out to be Jordan Peele advertising, maybe this is 2 years ago, that terrible Twilight Zone reboot, and it was like, oh, you could have been fooled for a second. And I don't think it would cause like a ruckus, like an uproar at the party. I think you'd just go, that's pretty good. I don't know. You expect the Energizer Bunny or like the Clydesdales to come out of the thing next. And then Baby Nut. This is how Baby Nut gets reborn this year. Comes out of the time portal. But yeah, so let's for the people in the back, can you say this one more time? What the actual message from the future is, or like what the pitch for this movie is, because it's so good, it makes so much sense.
She comes again. They've decided the best way to deliver this message to the past is to show up in the middle of the World Cup and just announce it, because I don't know. And tell them that in the future, 30 years in the future, nearly everyone is dead. There's like 500,000 people left because aliums are attacking. And
did they even say aliums at that point?
I don't remember.
I think it's an enemy or something. The enemy has hurt us or something.
The enemy has hurt us. There's many of us are dead. We need your strong, virile past bodies to save us. We, the weak and effeminate Gen Z, need the powerful boomers to come to our aid.
Yeah. Oh, man. I wonder. I don't know this for a fact. I know this is a fact about, like, the Super Bowl, but I don't know if this is how the World Cup works. When they do the Super Bowl, they were, like, snipers. That's job is to make sure no funny business happens in the field. Where are they at this? They gotta get their act together, because I feel like people coming through a portal with guns is like Sniper 101. It should be easy, but they did not.
That's the first thing they teach you at Sniper Academy. If anyone comes out of a portal with a gun, you shoot them.
Yeah, or maybe you let them talk. Maybe that's like secret military code for like, oh, never mind, this is cool. Let them through.
I wonder if maybe they intended to go to the UN General Assembly, but because they can't nail their fucking coordinate bullshit, that this is where they landed.
Imagine if fucking instead of that, a portal opened up 200 feet over the World Cup and just 10 or 12 people fell to their deaths. It's raining people.
Like, just standing around him, and the corpse is like, what the hell was that?
Yeah. Like, this looks futuristic-ish, I guess. Maybe they're from the future. It's like a little bit more, like, jagged of pockets than usual. But other than that, yeah.
The gun is, like, kind of our gun. It's not a laser beam.
No, yeah. It's a little bit more rounded, I think, than, like, a normal gun would look.
Yeah.
So I think we're supposed to assume they're from the future. I don't know. And then you'd figure they'd get up and be like, we're from the past, where Mountain Dew Baja Blast is back, baby. And then, yeah, everyone would drink delicious Mountain Dew. But
can I just say,
yeah, this is also the whole movie.
The thing you just point out, by the way, is just a continuing feature of sci-fi, especially big-budget sci-fi movies lately, which is they have no imagination about the future whatsoever. The future is the present, except maybe some of the technology is rounder.
Yeah, it's so boring. Even like shit like vehicles, which usually you can get a little creative with. It's just the usual ones. Helicopters with
Jeeps.
Maybe like
just
one
Jeeps.
kind of extra blade, and Jeeps, yeah. No wonder the aliens caught us.
I understand, like, old sci-fi that tried to imagine the future was, like, hilariously wrong if you look at it now. But that's what made it fun, is that they were imaginative. They had big ideas about what might happen. And I would like more of that, please.
Well, and also, it's not like they're fighting people. So you'd figure maybe they'd have some sort of special kind of weapon to fight these things. If we had to invent a silly weapon, it'd be like, yeah, it's got a big shield for some reason, and it fires a specific laser dart or whatever. So you could get away with the silly weapon. It's fighting silly things, but yeah, no, it's just a regular weapon.
I feel like the craziest part about this whole thing is that, you know, they come back and say, okay, everyone, we need to take you with us to fight the enemy, even though this battle's already lost. And no one's like, all right, well, you guys can time travel. Do we want to try maybe something else to... You know, we got 30 years.
Why don't you just tell us what happened, and then we'll make it not happen? That seems smarter.
It's like, yeah, we could figure it out, you know, make some defenses, do some research with the weapons, you know. No, it's like, all right, I guess we'll throw bodies into the machine, as Diggins was alluding to earlier. I guess that works.
Well, or just fucking send them back. There's not that many of them. Make them all live in Kansas. Put a million days on their little wristwatch thingies. And just have them all live here now. Why not? And then every 300 years, every 30 years, most of humanity gets culled, and then some of them go back to 2022. And they live out their lives there until the culling. That's kind of fun.
Oh, wow, that's actually interesting.
You know, nothing's stopping them from doing that, as far as I could read in the movie.
Well, a little bit into the proceedings, they seem to insinuate that this time travel thing is rough at best. You know, at any moment, the time travel could no longer be feasible.
That is true. Although, there are some people who work in the present, right?
Yeah.
From the future. Do they, like, go back every 7 days? Or do you think they just, like, are, like, in the future now? Or in the past now?
Well, some of them must be.
I don't think you need to set a time limit. I think they just do that for the draftees for no reason.
Yeah, there's no explanation for why that is. Also, you definitely don't have to get sent back because near the end of the movie, we have some people who are just from the future who are just kind of here.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So, yeah.
So, yeah, just stay. And put you in, you know, Wyoming or whatever. Build some new houses. 500,000 people. That's not that many. They split them up between all the countries. It's like, I don't know, it's like 4,000 people per country or something. Yeah, that's fine. That's very manageable. It's like a new town, a new small town in every country.
But even if they wanted to be more like, hey, let's try and, you know, save the future, you know, no one's even a little bit curious about this. I feel like whatever this woman said, that's what we would have went with. Also, so because the movie has no interest in, like, what would happen if someone from the future came back and told us this was happening? Like, because we don't get to experience those fun bits. They just jump a year. We get CNN news exposition, and then that's that. And everyone's just cool with it, and they roll with it. But fucking, like, there definitely would be people like, that's bullshit. This was movie effects magic, blah, blah, blah. You'd never get the world to agree to a draft because, what, all of a sudden the world's going to agree that a problem they can't see but's here now? Oh, man. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, DJ, there are some real ungrateful, unpatriotic sorts who are protesting, doing anti-war protests, the worst thing a person can do.
Right?
Saying that we shouldn't be in this war. So there's some of that.
But, like, those people seem to be, you know, it's not because, well, we don't know their motivations, but it's not like that they don't believe it. They're just like, war is bad. There's, like, no nuance for, like, we're like, what the implications of this shit are.
Right.
Well, and it's not like the future people
who think that going on an unending mission that will just drag on forever and ever, a forever war, maybe let's call it. No matter how many bodies we have to shovel into the furnace, no matter how many people's lives are irreparably ruined, we just have to keep doing it. And the people who think that we shouldn't, they just don't understand.
Well, and it's not even like the people from the future are like, hey, we'll level with you. This is exactly what happens in, like, the next couple of days, and here's all of the information we have, so, you know, do you get it? Like, this is a real big deal, and look, here's all the body parts, like, you can, you know, everybody can test them if you want. They don't even fucking tell us what we're fighting. That's part of the thing, is, like, we're fighting an enemy, it's so scary, you'll never even want to fight it, but, you know, trust us, it's bad.
But there's a draft, so kind of fuck you anyway, like...
Yeah, there's literally a line at one point in the draft scene where a woman's like, we don't even know what they look like. And she's like, well, we decided that if we showed you what they look like, no one would ever fight. And the line she says back is like, maybe you should just lie about that in the future. Which, fair. But also the line should be, we're literally being coerced by the government to do this. Like, they'll kill us if we don't. So, like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't have a choice.
And also... you guys are making us shoot guns at targets of people? Like, I guess we'd have to kind of assume it looks like that, right? And they'd be like, no, actually, it looks very different. And you'd be like, well, can you at least make the outline look like the thing? You have to show us all the spikes and its scary eyes, but, like, I feel like you're training us to fight the wrong thing. Yeah. And on top of all of that, it's a draft, right? Like, you get to go. And most people die, but some people live. They're not telling people what's there. One of them's wearing a little necklace. Yeah, you don't think there'd be all kinds of people going around. There's a big alien. It's just like Quiet Place. They're like, oh my god, that's terrifying-ish, I guess.
There's even a point during the training where one of the, like, drill sergeants is like, you gotta aim for the throat or the abdomen. And I'm like, they're aliens. What does that mean? What are their throats? What are their abdomens? Do they even have those?
Also, when everything's said and done, not that scary. It's not like the scariest thing you could possibly imagine, right?
It would be much scarier if I saw it in the dark and didn't know what it was, and like was like the truth of it was hidden from me, as opposed to if I saw a bunch of pictures of it and I was kind of ready for it.
It's very silly, very very silly.
Yeah, I mean that is one of the weirder bits of the movie. So I do think the movie does a little bit of legwork, or like there's a couple of bits during basic training where like mostly Sam Richardson, but some of the other characters are like talking about it, and you're like, oh, they only have old people, and then there's a bit where they're training them, or where Chris Pratt is getting drafted, and it's like, oh, well, they're sending him because he's gonna die soon, and like you're like, I guess that is what they would do, but they'd never do the other things that they do. Like it's some parts of it seem kind of thought out. But then other parts are so weird.
Yeah, like, even the stuff they bother to explain, right? So they send people to be drafted who die in the future, so there's no paradox. And the people they send back are young enough that they weren't born yet, so, like, you can't meet yourself. But, like, what does that mean for there to be a paradox? Like, would the universe explode? Like, what does that mean? Oh, we have to avoid a paradox. Like, and what, right? You
And
can't
also,
become your own father. Like, what?
You're going to the future where everyone's already dead.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who you send. You probably want to, I guess, like, sacrifice the people that are going to die in a car accident in 2 years, but, like, not really. It doesn't, like, if that is stopping you from drafting better people, send the better people.
Yeah, there's literally 500,000 people left on the entire Earth at the point they're being sent to. So just, like, make sure it's not one of those 500,000 and you're good.
Yeah. It's pretty awful. Also, fucking find those people, too. Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be interesting? We'd probably be a good team, you and you. You know, you'd be like, fight back to back. You have all your same instincts. That would be a valuable thing. But, I mean, you'd probably just have sex with yourself because that is cool. And, like, you'd just be like, you know.
But, you want to know how good you are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You want to know how stupid you look all the time. But you want to definitely get that. Like, I feel like they would, the way that they go about it is, like, they find people that are going to die in car accidents and, like, or have, like, you know, some sort of, you know,
terminal
disease.
Illness.
Yeah. And I'm like, I feel like that's probably not a good person to send to do a war if they have a terminal illness. Like, what if it gets bad during the war you're making them fight? That's going to make them bad.
They only draft people for 7 days.
Yeah.
Why? It takes longer than that to do things, usually.
I mean, that's why they're all going into war with, like, their street clothes on. It's because the time to prep them can't be longer than their tour of duty. Otherwise, it's dumb. It's kind of like you can't drive for longer than you're going to stay at a place you drive to. Otherwise, it's like, well, it's not really worth the drive, is it? This is that.
Also, fucking, if you die, and most people do, right? 70% of people die. Your dependents get $1 million.
Right.
What the fuck? Where's that coming from?
Well, and also, like, if how many people have we sent to the future? Is there any point where they
don't
give
really
us that
tell
number?
us. No.
Either way,
It's a
that $1
lot.
million, the inflation's going to be it's going to be valueless.
True.
Money in general is going to suck because of this weird little draft system we put in place. And there'd be so many people that would go into the future and die on purpose to give their family the $1 million. Like, if you're broke, and there's definitely people that would do that. And then, that's bad. That's a bad soldier to have. But also, I don't know, maybe the White Spikes wouldn't kill them out of honor. But, yeah, I mean, you get it. So let's talk about what happens when you get drafted. Because that's pretty wild. And, like, specifically, like, the process.
After some really, really clumsy foreshadowing about volcanoes, that's the next thing that happens, is he gets drafted.
Yeah.
God.
He gets a phone text thingy, and it's like, go to the draft center.
It's like Amber Alert style. Your phone's
Yeah.
just like, burr, burr. I would just check my phone. Oh, sorry, I didn't hear. I didn't know.
Yeah,
No
I mean,
idea.
and also, he, like, goes there, and he's like, what's this? What's going on? Has no one ever talked about this draft everybody has to do? None of you curious about it? Like, how much of a shit, like, is it, how do people not know some of these things? You would hear that you have to put a weird little metal, you know, fucking, like, Buzz Lightyear thingy on your arm for time travel. You'd know that. It would be silly, but, like, you'd know what you're getting into.
I mean, as we've pointed out, like, most people die, but some people do come back. We see them. So it's not like it's impossible to know these things.
And also, yeah, they get him here into, like, a room, and they sit him down, and they're like,
then
hey,
again,
buddy.
I just remembered that Chris Pratt's character is, like, comically unable to grasp simple concepts.
That's true, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There are several points in this movie where someone will say to him, like, when they're on their explicit, like, save the world from total annihilation from these aliens mission, like, they all know that's what they're doing. Someone will be like, this is our last hope. And he'll be like, our last hope for what? What do you think?
Yeah, so they check your birth certificate, they staple a big little wristlet onto you or something, and they're like, this is a tracker, and it's also part of time travel equipment, and it's impossible to get off unless you can.
Yeah.
And then you'll get in trouble
and
if
if
you
you-
take it off.
Yeah, if you try to avoid the draft, then we'll hunt you down and kill you like a dog. And I'm like, that's the implicit threat of drafts to begin with. It's weird that you said it out loud.
Yeah. And I mean, like, it's, we'll find out that you can get one of these off, and it's like, I don't know. Like, it monitors you, right? With, like, some sort of assumed future technology.
Yeah, I guess.
Yet you're able to just put them in a box and no one asks for them? They don't go to that guy's house next and go like, "Wait, where's all the look at all those you got?"
The signal was lost here.
Yeah, like it's not that
hard.
Know
anything about this?
And then, speaking of the draft, we find out that Chris Pratt actually might have a plan to get out of this.
Well,
and
it's really his wife's plan.
That's
his
true.
wife, when she finds out that he's been drafted, she's like, "I don't want you to die in the pointless forever war. Go tell your dad, who's apparently some kind of hardcore anti-government survivalist, to help you, even though you hate your dad for reasons that have not been specified."
He left.
Which, you know what? Fair.
Yeah. We hung out with Chris
reasonable.
Pratt only for a little bit in this movie. It kind of sucks. Yeah.
Reasonable that he left, but also reasonable that Chris Pratt might hate him for leaving. You know?
Yeah.
It's a
And he
hard-mouthed
lives...
kid. I get it.
He lives within a drive.
Yeah.
And were you guys...
fairly short drive. He gets to this within a day.
Were you guys expecting this actor to be in this? Did either of you know he was here?
I saw him in a trailer.
I did not. It was a fun surprise, I will say. I quite enjoyed it. Who was it, DJ?
JK, get me pictures of Spider-Man and Invincible Omni-Man Simmons.
Yeah.
Is he an Invincible?
Oh my God, yeah. He's the whole thing.
Oh man. Oh, that's oof. That just jumped up my list.
You watched Invincible, or no? Have you not watched Invincible?
The fact that you haven't is
when you see the character, it's Superman with the mustache, so it'll be pretty obvious that's supposed to be the J.K. Simmons one.
And
He's got facial hair,
and he
has
has
a pretty
the
distinctive voice. I'll recognize it.
The gray sideburns, very him,
very J. Jonah, yeah. And so in this, he is that picture of him from when he worked out to show us he was training for Batman, which is big old beard, sleeveless shirt, guns out. And like, look at how strong I am.
Sun's out, guns out.
Sun's out, guns out. Sun's in, guns out. Because his son comes and he's like, "Hey, Daddy, I see you have a private airplane you're working on. Tuck that one away for later. Also, you're some sort of hacker. Can you get my little collar off?" Or whatever. I guess. He's like the only one that can do it. It's very cute. Do you think this would be like a cottage industry? Draft dodge, tech
definitely.
Guys? Right, 100%. Yeah.
The real heroes, if you ask me.
Honestly, I mean, considering how useless the Time War is, like, it's not like what we find out eventually. I mean, the way we're even explained, it's not even like the movie. It's not even like the movie's point. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, they did lie to you and they did propaganda, but we did need to fight the Time War. So, a lot of you died, but it was a sacrifice that was worth it, and that's like not a great message, but it's a message. But in this, they're all just like, it's the Time War where most of you will die, and also we're pretty much losing it anyway. This is the last option we have. So it's like, it's weird. I don't know.
Well,
it's weird.
Here's where I think its message on that becomes the most incoherent in this scene, because so we have his daddy is like, "Oh, yeah, well, actually, I can easily do that. Yeah, I can pop that off for you in just a second." But before he does it, they have a conversation where he's like, "The reason I left is because I had really bad PTSD from serving in Vietnam, and I was afraid I was going to hurt you and your mom by staying, so I left." Which, I mean, it's reasonable if Chris Pratt is still mad about that because he still had to grow up without a dad, and I get that. I'm not trying to impugn that as, legitimate family drama. But Chris Pratt's reaction to hearing this, to hearing that the reason his family was broken is because his dad was, traumatized by war is, "You know what, Dad? Fuck you. I am going to go serve in the pointless Time War." Why? What does that have to do with what he said? If anything, you're just going to do the same thing to your own daughter, you idiot.
That's a good point.
It's a snake eating its own tail. It never stops.
Now, what is this movie? Here's a question that I feel like we should address. What is the Time War in its own eyes a metaphor for? Is it a metaphor for Vietnam?
No, it's global warming. It's gotta
Right?
be global warming.
It's Iraq, but it's good, and we're gonna win this time, guys.
Is it really not? I really thought it was global warming.
I think it
it
thinks it's global warming, but also it can't be considering how it ends.
Yeah. The movie thinks it's global warming, but, like, yeah, it's global warming if the solution is to shoot guns at it. Which, if only that was the solution, I would love that.
Yeah. And, like, yeah, it's global warming to the point where there's a point where the characters are like, actual global warming is going to cause this problem. And everybody's like, well, nothing we can do about that. All right, let's move on. And it's like, at least one character's nobody's gonna suggest maybe don't do a global warming. No, all right. So I guess the movie characters, who I assume are right, think global warming is foregone conclusion. Whatever. But
yeah. Plus, it's like its point is if it's global warming, then what it's saying is like the older generations have to step up and fix the problem that the younger generations can't, which is the literal opposite of what's happening. So, like, if it's global warming, it is incoherent.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
that is fair.
Chris Pratt hates his dad, so then he's like, no, don't even, I'm going to keep my stupid bracelet on and go die in this stupid war. And
his dad's like, I understand you're mad at me, but this is a really stupid way to express that. Like, you can continue not talking to me. Just let me take the thing off. You don't have to die pointlessly.
Yeah, and he's
Chris
like, no,
Pratt's
I do.
No, I do. Yeah.
It's a good idea. And then he salutes the camera.
And he says something about, like, I gotta save the future for our daughter or something. He says something stupid like that to his wife.
Yeah.
Even though he's not felt that way the entire time. Now he's decided. Now, after hearing how his dad was like permanently traumatized by a pointless war that we didn't even win, he's decided that that's what he has to do also.
Yeah. So then, he goes to do the Tomorrow War. Is there anything I'm forgetting? Like, he goes to basic training, which is like a 10-minute course.
Yeah, which we also already mostly made fun of for all the things that are stupid about it.
I mean, like, I feel like some of the details in basic training are amazing. So this is where we meet some of the other characters, important characters, like Sam Richardson.
Quote-unquote important.
Yeah, who is great, but I don't think this movie has any space for.
Tragic waste of Sam Richardson.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he got a nice big check, so whatever.
That's
good
true.
for you, Sammy. We also get another guy who I will call Army Guy. Mercenary man, red shirt. I don't know. What do we call this guy? Does he have a name?
I feel like Sam Richardson says his name once, and then no one ever says it ever again.
Yeah. But this guy he's the kid who goes back for fun. Like, he loves to go do tours to kill all the aliens.
Wait, is he going back voluntarily, or is he also being drafted? Because he's with all the draftees.
It's a great question. Do you have to watch the video every time? You should be able to skip the video.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I guess you have to go through basic training again. But the basic training does seem to be you get handed some clothes that you can put on or not. You get your weapon, and they probably show you what the buttons do. You watch a little intro video with a speech. Or is it a video or is it a person?
It's both, I think. It's like they're showing a video, but also like the head trainer person is standing there.
Right, yeah. So you do that, and then you have like a little bit of time to make friends, and then you go do the Tomorrow War. You teleport away. It's amazing. And I guess if I didn't know better, if I were like a person in this basic training, I would be done and be like, oh, this is why. This is why we're all dying, you guys. Because none of us know anything.
Yeah, like there are lessons to be taken away that aren't just punch, punch, bang, bang.
Yeah, like what does the alien look like? Where are we going?
Guys, I feel like they're just shoveling warm bodies at the problem without any forethought or care. And, you know, maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe that's part of why so many people are dying. Not because the threat is so deadly, but because we have so little regard for our own lives.
That's a good point.
No, shut up, idiot.
They should do the war, though.
America.
And also their little gun training was just like, shoot at the target, and then they all miss, and then the one person who's in charge does good shooting, and then they're like, do it like that, and then they don't get to try. Like, it's not even that they were taught how to use the gun, they're just kind of shown that they don't know how to use it really that well. Which is a shame, because you'd think your future gun would be better or easier to use or something, but it's, I guess,
we haven't
worse.
even invented auto-aim in the next 30 years.
Yeah, right? That would be kind of interesting if they got there and they had future tech and it was like, see, it's so easy. This gun, it shoots the things for you. And then they get there and it didn't work or something. And you'd be like, oh, they lied to us. But
it would also make this plan make a little bit more sense if it's like, we have the technology that any warm body could be a decent soldier. We just have very few warm bodies.
Yeah. That would make sense.
But also, do we have that technology?
No, we don't. That's the point.
Also, why don't we have that technology?
I don't know.
It's the future. I feel like maybe some drones or some, fucking a gun on a mount would be able to help with this fucking problem.
Yeah, remember in Money Plane where the Punisher put a gun on a toy drone and used it to shoot some guys?
Yeah,
let's get
what
that.
The fuck?
Let's get him to make us a gun thing. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, no, it's just like guys. And I do think this detail is very important. Does anyone want to describe? I don't remember exactly where, but the person standing like 2 rows back and 1 row over from Chris Pratt when they all line up to go back in time.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember them?
No.
No,
Isn't this where we find the chef?
Oh, yeah.
People are going back in time in their clothes that they brought. Like, a chef hat guy is involved.
Do they explain why that is, by the way? Like, why?
No, because they all had a day. They had a full day to report to draft. Did they just go, well, I guess I'm going to go. Take the day off, dude. Take the day off from work because you're getting drafted. You're probably going to die. Like, how important is the restaurant that you can't not wear, like, or at least get to wear jeans in that day? I don't know. But
yeah, it's fucking awful.
Yeah, a guy shows up in fucking in silly little, like, in a toque and a white everything. He's probably wearing Crocs, I'd assume, because that's what chefs wear, and they're great and comfy. And Sam Richardson doesn't know how to load his gun. He like puts it in backwards. And this character's like a smart guy too. I don't know how to use a gun, but I think if I were shown, I'd be able to figure it out, you know?
He's like, I used to be a professor at a prestigious university, but I'm really smart because now I work at a private company.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, God.
So they all go into the future. Now, does anyone want to describe the actual method of time travel, what it looks like and how it kind of works?
You get, like, pulled into, like, a wormhole, kinda.
Yeah, the ceiling's a big wormhole, and it sucks people up into it, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right.
And as they're going up, one by one, you can hear someone in the control room go like, wait, what? It's breaking. Do we abort? And I guess the answer they came up with is no. Let's just kill them all.
Maybe there is no abort.
Maybe there, yeah.
This is where we are, and that's that.
Yeah. But,
they're just soldiers. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. But wait, what if it's a family man? So they go into the future. Never mind, he's only a Marine or whatever. He's not a civilian family man. So they go into the future, and they land at Miami Beach. But also, they land hundreds of feet up, and most of them die. They just, like, all go hit the ground because of a mistake.
Like, 10 of them land in a pool on top of a high-rise, and everyone else fucking dies.
Yeah.
Which, great.
Pretty funny.
Great stuff, everybody.
Yeah. And
this might be why we're losing the time war.
Yeah. Yeah, it probably happens every time. They just keep sending people to random heights and random locations because the time machine doesn't work. But they do manage to get this group of people through. And by this group, I mean, like, a couple of them survive, all the ones we named. And some others, the one from 24, and a comedian, I assume, because that's just what that one guy seemed to be in real life. And they have a mission to recover some blue thingies from a lab or something.
Yeah, vials.
Yeah.
Because science, guys, science is the
Now,
real hero.
If you want to ask me right now exactly what those blue thingies were, you put a gun to my head, I'd say pull the fucking trigger. I don't have any goddamn clue.
So I think they were part of the toxin. I think they might have even been the test blood for the toxin. What the toxin is matters not, and it's stupid anyway. But that is
and in
what
fact, by the end of the movie, the toxin also doesn't matter.
Yeah, and what they're working on is the weapon to destroy the guy, the white spikes, which are the bad guys, which we haven't even been shown yet. But they're, you kind of figure it out. And then the mission goes bad because the building's full of white spikes, I guess.
Can we talk about the white spikes?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, why are these guys such a problem?
I don't know. There's a lot of them. There's like 20.
I think they breathe
too many.
fast. I think that's implied at some point.
Okay,
that
but
makes sense.
they're not Godzilla sized. They're not, super intelligent. They're not Superman strong. I don't even think they can communicate with each other. What?
Yeah, they seem to be able to communicate with the queen, and by communicate, I mean they get her screams, but that's about it.
She does a big yell, and then they're like, "Oh no, a big yell."
We're so attached.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't know how these guys and then everybody's like, you can't even shoot them unless you can. Then maybe you can, but usually you can't.
If you're not a main character, you can't shoot them. But if you are a main character, then you can.
Yeah, you can't shoot them with the main gun, but if you exhaust all your weapons and pull out your sidearm, you'll probably get it. That's how you know you're getting serious. And also, we told you to shoot them in these specific places, but we didn't tell you what those were or what they would look like. But if you knew, maybe that would help. But also, carpet bombing works. Also, you can chop them up with helicopter blades sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're not fireproof.
Yeah.
So, the fuck? Ugh.
It's
so dumb.
I guess if they could
Conventional
burrow and they could
is actually very useful. They're basically just people with really good bulletproof vests.
Yeah, I mean a chainsaw also works. We'll maybe see.
To be fair, it's a table saw.
Sure, a moving saw weapon would probably get him. Maybe it wouldn't kill him, but you could cut the arms off easy.
Like that zombie movie where they use saws to kill the zombie.
Exactly. And also, one of the things about these guys, and one of the things that they teach us, or that does make them special, and what explains their name, is they are the white spikes, which means they have these little tendrils that shoot these weird little bony, spikes at a high velocity that can kill you if they hit you. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't seem like they have more than one or two of them at a time.
They're not poisonous, right?
And they're not no, yeah. So as long as you can not get hit by a couple of them, you're probably okay. So yeah, I don't know.
Also,
if you were
again,
in charge of the,
if you're a main character, even if you get shot with one of those spikes, you can just pull it out. You won't be bleeding or anything. You'll be okay.
Yeah. What would you guys do if you were in charge of the military and the white spikes showed up in Miami, let's say, one day? How do we deal with them?
I would get all those ripsaws from Fast 8 that don't need people in them.
Yeah.
I would send wave after wave.
He said wave after wave of my own men until they reach their preset kill limit and shut down.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That's this movie.
It really is, yeah. Oh, my God. Can you imagine if we got to the future and instead of a smart general, it was just the dumbest, most Brannigan-esque character you could possibly imagine? That would be so funny.
Well, you're describing a good movie, a Starship Troopers-esque movie that knows that it's satirizing American militarism instead of doing that but being sincere somehow.
So, I don't know. I feel like you could kill them with a lot of things. I feel like bombs would work, obviously. I also feel like mines would be so effective against these guys. Because they're not smart.
Yeah.
They don't have any intelligence. You just drop some mines. Because they also take Sundays off. So, if you just spent that day planting mines, they'd probably all die.
Well, Nando, they may be monsters, but they're still good Christian boys.
Yep. And what was that? What was I gonna say? That one works. Like obviously guns, predator drones or whatever.
Fire, just stick
the other one just fire
on anything. Gosh,
like I think we see these guys can kind of take out a tank, but they follow.
Can they?
I feel like it would be Army of the Dead posited a much more realistic version of this somehow.
Yeah.
Where it's like, the outbreak happens and it's bad, but then we confine it to one city because they're not that smart and they're easy to corral and not that hard to kill. There's a lot of them and they spread fast, and that's the only problem.
That's true. They just would have been fucked. Like Russia would have been fucked.
Yeah. And I guess these things can swim, but like they can't swim in ocean. Like, can they? Maybe they can, but I doubt it.
I mean,
That's true.
they must have.
How else? Proliferated? Yeah.
How else?
Yeah.
Because every major continent, including Australia, is like gone by the time we get to. That's why they're like camped out in the Caribbean. So like they had to have gotten from Russia to the Americas somehow.
Yeah. I mean, maybe someone brought them on like accidentally. They got into a shipping container, like invasive bugs, and it's just like fuck.
I guess
man, the white spikes.
We do. At the first ending of the movie, we do see them swimming through the entire Caribbean Sea to get to the Dominican Republic somehow.
So, I guess that. They can also, like, glide, but not fly. But,
that was
I feel like
stupid. I laughed out loud when they did their dumb glide.
It's so funny, because I was like, oh, no, they can fly. And it's like, nah, really, though. They just kind of fly. And also, if you outrun them, they give up, I guess. I don't know. But the
also that never comes up again. It shows up in that one scene and then never again.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what's I gonna say? The one of the other things that's weird, or like they follow Godzilla rules and like Godzilla '98 rules, and a lot of horror movie rules. Where, I think with a good high caliber gun or something, you could rip these things to pieces. But they always surprise everybody, and then you're like caught off guard. But it's like. The ones that, because at one point everybody's running through the street in Miami, in future Miami, and they see a couple Humvees coming with guys, and they're like, come here, come and get us. And then everyone's like, oh, cool, guys. But then some of these white spikes just come in and, like, tackle the trucks and knock them over. But it's like, did they not look for them? They didn't even seem to know those trucks were there. Like, the white spikes were coming. So, like, as long as they can sneak around, they're good. But if they're in, like, an open space, it's impossible. There's no way. If you put them in the middle of Wyoming, where there's no buildings for them to hide in and stuff, and just put had a lab there, you'd be able to find them.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It only doesn't work in a densely populated city with lots of bridges and tunnels and shit. But that's where we are. Also, I don't want to say Miami is not the, pharmacology capital of the world. It is weird that it's Miami, kind of, right?
Yeah. Well, like, do we know where the main movie takes place? Because the guy's like obsessed with the dolphins. So, like,
oh yeah, maybe it is in Miami.
And we never learn whether or not I never get to learn whether or not the Miami Dolphins are ever good by 2050.
Right, because what kind of fool would like the Dolphins if he didn't live there,
Yeah, right, exactly.
Right?
But
don't worry, DJ. We can confidently predict the answer is no.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think listen. If we know anything, it's that no one on this show, whoever teams they like, will ever get to do any kind of real success, no matter how close they get to the NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, it's crazy how the Knicks, like you predicted, made it all the way to the finals. It's like they've had a really strong run, and even if they don't win the finals, you should be proud of how good they've done, DJ.
I think it's so crazy how your Milwaukee Bucks are going to get swept by the Phoenix Suns, led by 48 million-year-old Chris Paul.
Okay.
Yeah, the Miami Dolphins in this movie are bad. Miami leads to my least favorite joke in the movie, which, like, I think could be done funny. I don't know how, but I hated the delivery. I hated the delivery. It just didn't feel like Sam Richardson was in the same movie as the rest of these guys.
Right.
where he says, where he gets to Miami and it's all destroyed, he's like, let's not show Will Smith this or something. It's glad Will Smith didn't live to see this. I think that's the line.
Yeah, that's it.
And, like, I don't know, man. It's weird. Sam Richardson, everybody around who just got killed by falling. Like, there's lots of, and they're all randos, so, like, it's like soccer moms and shit. Have a little decorum, Sam Richardson's guy, Richard Splett.
Also, we didn't talk about this, like a little small thing, but like as you're getting the falling, you have like the view of like Chris Pratt, like he's about to like fall into the pool, but the way he's angled, it totally looks like he's about to miss it by like a foot, and just like pancake by the side of the pool. But he's able to like gravity shift his body at the last second, like woof.
Well, like a video game character, he has total control over his jumps in the air.
Right,
so he can just move.
He can double jump like that baseball player from last week. That was cool. You know what I'm talking about?
No,
I have no idea.
It was a thing. There's like a baseball player. It's like a shortstop or something, and he caught a ball. And you can see if you slow it down, he almost kind of double jumps. Like he jumps, and then he uses his body to like make another jump. It's pretty wild. But it's pretty cool. But yeah, he's not Chris Pratt. But I mean, Chris Pratt is a family man, so he has granted powers the normal man can only imagine. And he also
think of his daughter, and he's filled with an overwhelming strength.
Speaking of that, he also goes and what's he gonna say? Goes to do his mission, and then he gets a call from the people, like the home base for people, and it's a blonde lady, and she's like, "Hey, what's your name, soldier?" And he tells her his name. I already forgot, Dan Crenshaw, and she's like, "Oh, interesting, good." And he's in charge now for some reason. Even though there's that other guy who's done several missions also there. Sucks.
Yeah.
Where's that guy a shot? Nepotism, man. Or is it? But it is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Apropos of nothing, since we skipped it, can we talk about how his daughter's name is like the worst name on Earth?
What is it? I forget.
It's okay. I'm gonna say it, and you're gonna be like, "That's a weird way to pronounce that," but that's normal. And then I'm gonna spell it, and you're gonna be like, "What the fuck?"
Okay, go for it.
So her name is Murray.
Okay.
Muri, spelled this way.
Okay.
How is it spelled? I didn't hear it. Did you hear?
Oh, he typed it. It's Muri.
Oh, okay.
Muri. It's like, what? Did you like try to name her Mary, but the night she was born you were drunk?
Maybe he was trying to name her Murica, but then he ran out of letters on the birth certificate or something. You know? Because he's a family man.
Because he's a family
man. I don't know.
It's just like, that's not a name.
Yeah.
Any name's a name, Diggins. Come on, don't be so myopic.
It's like the name, what's the name of the daughter in fucking the other movie where Daddy goes into the future? The one with Matthew McConaughey, the space. What the fuck's it called?
Interstellar.
Yeah, what's her name in that? I feel like she also has a kind of silly name. Might be Murph. It's Murph.
Yeah. But that's like at least a real name.
Yeah, it's a real name, I guess. But yeah, Murray is a really strange name. Maybe it's short for like Muriel, but I can't imagine why that would be a name they would pick. But what about the daughter? I mean, the daughter's only in that one scene as a child, so we probably don't even need to continue talking about her.
It's just, I just realized that we hadn't talked about it, so I just wanted to bring it up before I forgot.
That's fair.
Oh, well, yeah, no, thanks, Diggins. We appreciate that.
So Chris Pratt saves the day. He sacrifices all of his troops, like Zap Brannigan said.
Yeah, he gets them all. And, like, there are several points where, like, they try to set up a dichotomy where he's like, we've got to go back and save people. And the guy who's done 3 tours is like, saving people is pointless. But there are several points where Chris Pratt is, like, leading the group, and he just tells one person, just stay here for no reason, and, like, yell if aliens show up. Just, I know we're supposed to be keeping moving, but, just stay back here as a sacrifice. I mean, as a watch. Just, just because.
Ugh, fucking gross, man.
Yeah, but he does make it. They make it after they kill all those people.
It's okay, DJ. The people he sacrifices are mostly fat, so they're not even real.
That is true. Like, they do kill a fat guy.
they were like down for it as well.
Everybody just wants to shoot a gun. They get to shoot the gun, and they're pretty excited about it.
They're like, no, go, we'll stay.
Yeah,
including the one woman who like she gets shot with a spike, and you're like, oh, she can't move, but then she pulls the spike out and stands up and seems fine.
Fucking
but then
Rambo
she's like,
style.
no, but go, and I'm like, why? You could also go.
Yep.
It's like reverse Army of the Dead with the woman. It's like, we can't save her. It's like, no, you can save me. You can save me.
Yeah, it's a good movie, this one, because it does that. It shows us that people are expendable in war, and we should accept that, because they all actually want to die in glorious battle.
Right. And you shouldn't care about anyone besides your family anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you'd figure, at this point we're drafting people, you'd figure no one would want to fight this war, because they didn't volunteer, you know? Everybody would get there and then just run away. But no, they all just, like, become the greatest soldier ever, because they got a 10-minute speech and they got to fire their gun.
Well, they're just so
weird.
filled with patriotism and love of their country.
Yeah.
Which, I find it really funny that, like, they make a big deal of, like, you're not fighting for your country, you're fighting for the world. And then literally everyone we see in the future is American.
Yeah.
That's all who's left.
Yeah, speaking of that, so Chris Pratt lives in Miami maybe because of the Dolphins, right? They also go to Miami. Does he, like, did they draft people specifically that live near the time travel machine?
I mean, I don't know why that would have to be a thing, but...
Right?
You know,
But, like, then he's able to drive to two other people that were also part of his team, that were also drafted for that mission.
yeah.
So, like, they all live near each other. But this has to be the only one of these, because they say they only have one time machine. So they're just drafting from, like, the Miami-Dade area. So, yeah, move away from there. It's a bad place to be.
They gotta get the bad boys.
Yeah, they... oh,
listen,
my God. We didn't even think of that.
If you live near the Miami-Dade area, you should move away anyway. It's only going to be viable for another, like, 20 years.
That's true, too. Yeah, you get another good 10 in before the aliens take it, after if you don't live there.
Why wasn't Miami totally underwater when they got there?
That's true, because the white spikes, it's not like the white spikes come out in 2023. It takes a while for them to, like, be, hatch and take over the world.
In 2048, they come out, and, later on we may find out that we have good reason to believe that climate change has specifically gotten very bad at that time.
Yeah,
right.
That would be interesting if they came into Miami and it was just like a shitload, like everything was water. It was like Venice. That'd be interesting. So many interesting things this movie could have done.
So many.
Yeah.
But then it does something that it could also be interesting, but isn't. It turns out that commander woman, the blonde one, who we don't know the name of or something, Chris Pratt is like, your name is like my name. That's pretty weird, isn't it? And she's
that's so odd. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I will say, in his defense, it's not like Forrester's an especially uncommon name.
Yeah. That's fair. I also feel like if I went into the future, I'd just assume everyone's me or related to me or something. I'd be like, are you my daughter? And they'd be like, no, I'm, older than you, like by 30 years. And, some other thing that can't be, but I'd be like, I think you are, because of paradoxes. I mean, it is weird that we're living through the Tomorrow War at the same time as another time travel show that really gets into, like, time travel, specifics and the fun stuff related to time travel. And this one just has no interest in it. But yeah. It'd be funny if Chris Pratt showed up in the past and there was like an alligator. It's like, this is me. And they're like, yeah, Florida genes eventually all merge with alligators. Anyway, so Chris Pratt, so what's the deal with this Lieutenant Forrester?
She's a hard-nosed army colonel who don't take no shit from nobody.
Yeah. And that's it.
Yep,
I mean,
that's it.
That honestly is it, yeah.
And she's played by Yvonne Stravitsky, who is from, I've been told, Dexter, but also she's in Chuck. She's the girl that does, the secret agent with Chuck. And then also she's in Handmaid's Tale. 3 very similar, projects. She's wildly all over genres. And she's fine.
Yeah, I mean, she does her job here pretty well.
Yeah.
There's a point where later, not to give too much away, but like she gets like hit with a white spike, and I'm convinced she's in a lot of pain. She's really good at screaming and conveying pain, so good for her.
Very good.
Later on, she's like sad about something, and I'm like, she seems like she's sad.
Yeah.
Nothing else. Nothing about this scene convinces me that there's anything sad happening, but she seems sad.
And why is she sad? Because she doesn't like Chris Pratt because he did something to her back when she was a child. Because she is his little baby daughter named whatever was before Murray. Murray. She is his daughter in war.
Oh no! But it's okay because she's not a soldier. She's a scientist. But also, she's actually just a soldier.
Yeah, and she brought him back specifically for a mission, even though he was randomly drafted. And
we don't know that he was randomly drafted, right?
But how did she know to draft him at this point? Because it does seem like they're randomly drafted, because the mission she brings him into is just like, hey, there's a vial, we need you to get it from across the street because none of our guys can get it. So it kind of seems like if you were getting him on purpose, you'd have brought him earlier, or once you have the vial.
Also, the mission that she does have for him is like literally anybody could be trusted with this. It's so important that like I struggle to imagine the person who would fuck it up.
And also, it also seems like he's the only person that might, because he almost fucks it up for a very specific reason. And yeah,
very stupid reason. Also,
yeah, the stupidest of reasons.
He shouldn't have been on this mission. Maybe it should have been anybody else. Maybe the guy who's been on 3 tours who's, like, pretty good.
Actually, I want to revise that statement. It is so important and also so easy and so not dangerous that, like, you could entrust that mission to anybody. Literally anyone could do it.
Absolutely. You would assume there would be some sort of tube system that could be the mission. That you could just, like, put it in a little box and then send it backward in time and it would be fine. And someone else in backward in time would get it.
That'd be fun.
Like, why not? But, so Chris Pratt is like, you're my daughter, whoa. And she's like, yep, I'm pretty cool. I did all the army stuff, and you did all the army stuff, and whatever. And I've got a mission for you. I can't tell you what it is yet. And he's like, whatever. I don't care. And then they go to, I think, maybe the dumbest scene in the movie, which is, like, where they're holding a queen in, like, a little sand pit thing. What is this even?
I think that's like their nest. I don't think they've captured her yet until that point.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense then. Yeah. But yeah, they're going to capture a queen.
Which, like, okay.
Because they have some neurotoxin that kills the males instantly, but it doesn't work on the females. So they need a living female to experiment on so they can make one that will kill all of them.
And it's funny because this toxin, it's like not like it needs to be administered into their bloodstream later on with like a little needle kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I imagine the way they would give them this toxin is by shooting it at them in like little needles.
With like a gun.
With like a gun.
But it's so much, and they need to inject it. It seems like wildly impractical, actually, as a solution to the problem.
I guess maybe you could like cover the city in it, but also, I don't know. That doesn't seem like they have the resources to pull that off. It seems like the best case scenario is just put it in guns.
The plan is also, as we are alluding to, is to send it back to the past so they can use it and the war just never happens. So, I mean, that does give them a good 30 years to come up with a good way to use it.
That's true. So the queen. All right, so let's say, I'm going to throw a hypothetical at you. Let's say you guys have a queen alone in a nest, right? Okay. But you need to get it into a box. Right. How do you do it?
I would put the box up against the nest and then do something that would make her want to come out.
Incorrect. DJ, what's your guess? How would you get her out?
I would use a bait trap.
Nope. Also wrong.
Okay.
The correct answer is you get 8 guys and have them put ropes on her and then pull her in different directions until she kills them all. And like have them like, I don't know, go into the box with her or something. How do you get her in? You can't get her into the box. It's the most insane little scene. And Chris Pratt helps and he almost dies and she's like, you could have died. And it's like, yeah, but all of you guys were definitely going to die. Like, it's not like you guys had a sweet plan that he fucked up. Your plan was horrible, and he fixed it. So
it's true.
Yeah, I don't know. It's you tie it up, and then you put it in a box with little with bars, so it can breathe and speak to its other friends. And then it maybe gives them a little. And we learn that the drones love the queen, so it calls them, and then all the drones show up.
Like all sci-fi aliens since Aliens came out.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Jupiter ascending. Bees are a space thing, you know?
Yeah.
Queens recognize royalty, or bees recognize royalty in space.
But all alien monsters have a vaguely insectoid social structure.
Yeah.
Well, especially when they maybe look vaguely like insects. Who knows? Shut up.
And
we know what we're doing.
Xenomorphs from Aliens, because everyone just makes xenomorphs again. Because the Aliens, Alien and Aliens are really good movies, and I understand your impulse to do that. But maybe come up with a new thing, maybe.
Right.
Well, instead of that, though, you could do the old thing, and that'd be easier. So that's
true.
actually pretty good. Yeah. And one of the things that I think is so interesting about this, I remember watching the scene when they caught the mom, and she was or the queen, she was struggling, and I was like, aw. And then I was like, oh, is this Starship Troopers or something? Is it sad that we're being so mean to them? And then later they'd sedate her, and it seems even sadder. And no, fuck them. That's right.
They're heartless, evil monsters that only want to kill. It's totally fine to kill them.
So yeah, and then everybody gets attacked by a bazillion of these thingies, these white spikes that show up to get the queen, even though it's a nest. I would assume there'd be lots of them there anyway, but whatever. And everybody almost dies, except they don't. The queen is able to be taken away, and Chris Pratt and the Chuck girl, they all escape. Now that is...
Well, they drive away in like a Humvee, and she shoots them with a big chain gun, and that kills them, because again, they aren't that tough.
Well, they're and they're not that clever. There's nothing about them that's good.
At least if you look at a movie that has I Am Legend, right, but is more zombie than alien, but at least in I Am Legend they took the time to explain to you why everything was so problematic, and we were in a near post-apocalyptic event, or near extinction event. But this movie has no interest in that. They just want a thing that has to be shot, and that's it. That's all we get.
Yeah, I mean, and even in Quiet Place, it's here's the specific thing that makes these guys better at finding people than just any random alien. But with this, it's these guys aren't that good at finding anybody.
And also, the Quiet Place monsters are actually super tough, and any kind of gunfire is they're totally impervious to it until their one specific weakness is found at the end of that movie.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, and this is just they're pretty generic and killable. You can kill them. Like I said before, this is a scene where the helicopter blade chops 3 of them into little bits. So I don't know, do that.
It's funny, for a movie that's so pro-military, it's they want you to be pro the idea of the military, but not in any way how the military actually functions. If this were a problem, I think the world's militaries could figure it out.
Yeah.
It might be at an incredible cost. The civilian casualties would probably be insane, but we wouldn't just get beat by them. These specific monsters. Maybe if there was a tougher monster. If Superman comes down, we're fucked. But, I don't know. I just don't think that the white spikes are the things that are going to cause human extinction. Just the movie says so, and you're supposed to go oh, no, they're so tough. And, even, I can't remember if we mentioned this, but there was, a scene earlier where they're, spying and looking through binoculars. It's you want to see how scary they are. And there's just, people out for whatever fucking reason, and the white spikes jump them. I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird.
Yeah. Also, at one point,
that scene is weird because it's it's unpleasant to watch a person get torn apart. That is scary, but it's not more scary that an alien is doing it than if a lion did it. There's nothing unique about what they're doing.
It's true. And also, I remember this, I think, at one point early in the movie, before they actually go into the future. Well, right around then. This actually might be while they're in the future and Muri is talking to them over the headset. you can see like a heat map showing where the monsters are currently, right? Do you guys remember this?
Yeah.
Like, it seems like they can track these things too, so that's pretty good. I don't think they should be able to sneak up on anybody.
They're just too good. They're too
They're
good.
pretty good. They're really dangerous. So they take them to the base in the water. They have a water base. Oh, for that Chris Pratt and the daughter fight about him.
So I want to talk about this a little bit because I hate it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So,
go for it.
So basically, they stop on a beach after the aliens stop chasing them. And then they have a big fight where she's like, you left us when I was young. You left our family, and that made me sad. And my mom was like, you shouldn't want to have a relationship with him because he's bad. But I still wanted to because I love you. But then you died in a car accident and you never made it better. And that makes me sad. And it's like, okay, but I didn't do any of that yet. And like, I don't mean that in the sense of like she shouldn't be upset about it. I mean that in the sense of, this is a thing I've talked about a lot, where it's like a lot of movies that we watch for this podcast want to have the texture of a conflict, but they never want you to think that the protagonist is in the wrong about anything. Mm-hmm. So they have this thing where you're like, hypothetically in the future you will do a bad thing, and he's like, but I don't want to do the bad thing. So it's like, you don't have to feel bad because he didn't do the bad thing. This guy that we're watching on screen, he never did the bad thing, and so you don't have to be upset at him because he didn't do anything. But you have a conflict because in the hypothetical future that is obviously not going to happen now because we've already changed his past, he would have done a bad thing. And like, that's not meaningful. It's not a meaningful conflict. Is him being told that he might do a bad thing. Like, you have to actually, if you want to have this kind of conflict, your character actually has to be fallible. They actually have to mess up in some way. He has to have done a bad thing that he has to be sorry for and like learn something from. You can't have him be told he would have left and then he's like, I would never leave. And then that's just true. Like, it doesn't mean anything.
And also, and like, you could write a character like that who, like, you know, like Jeremy Renner in the Bombs movie, whatever that was called, Hurt Locker, where he's like addicted to war and he goes to war all the time, leaves his family behind. That's not what Chris Pratt is. You could also make a character who like deserts or something and then gets caught and is forced to go into the war, and she's like, why didn't you want to protect the future? That's not what Chris Pratt is. Chris Pratt specifically goes to his dad and is like, I love my daughter, so I'm gonna go to war to protect her. And then he goes to his daughter and he's like, I have to go to war to protect you. And then like, she's mad because like, oh, you had like PTSD and stuff. And it's like, yeah, because you went to the war to protect you. Also, he died not too long ago, or like longish ago for you. And you're an adult now. Can you not put this together? Like, I get that you don't like him, but like, can you not see what happened in this situation? Well, it's not like it was a mystery.
I looked this up. Actually, PTSD from the war is not why he left.
Oh, I thought it was. Why did he leave?
It's extremely unclear in the movie, so I do not blame you for being confused. However, I looked up like Wikipedia summaries and stuff, and the reason he left is he was just mad about not getting that job at the start.
What a jerk!
No way. Get that fucking
he got really dissatisfied with his life, and that made him distant, and eventually he left. That's what happened.
So really, the Army Research Lab is to blame. Those monsters. How can they not give him a job?
Well, and also, speaking of that, a part of it has to do with like him and the wife getting divorced, right? And she's like, you got divorced from mom, and he's like, no, I would never do that. So what? That's a thing that happens, Yvonne Stravinsky kid, Murray. Like. But
she can be mad at him for it. Like, that's fair. Like, she can be mad at him for divorcing his mom. Like, I don't think that's crazy. I don't
it's weird that he divorced his own mom, but...
That's true. I feel like it's weird for her to, as an adult, as an adult as old as he is, I guess, kind of, still be, like, mad at him about it. and have brought him into the future because he's the only person she can trust for this mission. Like, it's got to be one or the other.
That's fair. Well,
if
like,
that's the case, bring Mom to the future.
That's fair. Didn't she say, though, that, like, she wanted to believe him? So she's almost, like, resting the fate of humanity on, like, salvaging her relationship with her dad, which isn't going to matter because everything's going to change anyway. So, like, well, you know, what the fuck, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah. It's an incredibly reckless thing to do with this mission that will decide the fate of all of humanity.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
And but they go to the water thingy. They go to, like, where is it? It's not Cuba. Where'd you say it was? Dominican Republic. Yeah.
Somewhere in the Caribbean.
Yeah. So they go to the Dominican Republic and they have, like, a little base on, like, what would be like an oil, rig or something in the middle of the water. And they put the queen in that. And they sedate her so it's fine. And then they do testing. They do science testing. And this is some of the funniest science I've seen in a very long time.
So much fucking science, man.
Yeah. Man, this movie loves the word science and doesn't want to spend a single second thinking about what science is.
No, not even a little bit.
Yeah. It's so weird because can either of you describe what, like, it is?
So you use this big syringe gun to what's it called when you take blood from people? To draw some, like, orange soda blood from the queen.
Yeah.
And then you put it in a vial, and then it sits in a little thing that tells you what percentage of good it is. And that's what science is.
Hardcore science, motherfucker.
Yeah, and the science goes, like, 29% good, and then it goes 40% good, and then she's like, it's better, and then it's like 39% good, and she, like, bangs her head on the table. She's like, will it ever get better? And then it's like 70% good, and they celebrate a little bit, and then it is eventually 100% good. It's so, like, it's just so lazy science.
If you haven't watched the movie, you might think we're being reductive, because a lot of movies' science scenes could be boiled down to something like that if you just, like, are being really reductive about it.
Yeah.
We're literally saying that all they do is, like, stand in front of a desk, talk, and, like, watch a computer say percent numbers of vials it's looking at. Like, that's it.
It's so funny. Like, I can't even... I want to describe it to more people, but there's not more to describe. But it is just... I loved it. And... yeah. And also the other fun part is we know it's pointless. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Like, it doesn't... Who cares if the serum is good? You can't get it into him unless you can shoot him. Whatever. But, so then... Why do the other white spikes come? Does Queen start making noise again or something?
Yeah, I'm in distress, like the white spike version of that, and all because the men have to protect the women. The drones will protect the queen bee style. So
right
there we are.
Yeah, and then they go and just like do the thing. And there's like a bunch of more kind of zombie horror movie scenes where it's like going through hallways. A lot of this movie is hallways. Surprise, surprise. A
lot of hallways.
Yeah. And then my favorite part, well, not my favorite part, but one of the weirdest things, the daughter is killed. And does anyone want to describe her death and how it goes?
So it's crazy. She gets spiked, like, in the abdomen area. And it's like, oh, and they kind of, like, hobble along. And it feels like this goes on forever. But it's like the horde is approaching, and Chris Pratt's timer is like going down to it's like I'm going to be sent back soon, and then she tells him like the whole deal, like I sent you for you so you could do this. You send this vial back, mass produce it, and then come back and we kill all the guys. And everything's just being blown up and destroyed around them. Their one last beacon of hope, the pillar of time travel, is like being destroyed. But like whatever, we'll get to that in a second.
Because apparently they decided to bring the queen to the place where the time travel machine is.
Yeah.
Which, after the scene, I want to talk about. Did we talk about the time travel analogy with like the river?
Oh no, we didn't.
We should talk about
the
that.
rafts.
Yeah.
So stupid. But anyway, and they're trying to have the moment, and his clock is ticking down, and it gets to the point where she like falls off the like platform they're on, in this like shot where it's like her and this horde of white spikes below her, and Chris Pratt's like, I'm going after you, because he just like will not let her die. But before he can also die, because the white spikes would have ripped him to fucking pieces, he makes his dumb face, which allows him to teleport back to the past or present or whatever.
Yeah. Also, his daughter is super dead. He can't even.
Yeah.
It's not like he could save her.
Yeah, like he didn't have a plan. Fucking. Ugh.
But also, do we talk about? So like before the white spikes attack, so before they even know there's an imminent danger, she's like telling him like, I want you to take this back in the past where it can be reproduced and we can stop this problem from ever happening. And he's like, but if I do that, I'll be leaving you here in the future to die. And she doesn't say this, even though she should. She seems to agree with his premise, and she's just like, you have to. It's for the greater good. But, like, neither of them think, oh, wait, I'm literally changing the past, so, like, this situation we're in right now will have never happened. You won't be in any danger, because the aliens won't be a problem in the first place. So, actually, It's fine, and you're not abandoning me to anything.
And also, I mean, we've kind of gotten at this, but just come with me. Put on a little time travel machine. Why don't you come? You could stay at home. It'll be weird. Maybe we'll make a paradox, but maybe you won't die. So that would be nice. Like,
also really funny is apparently like no one can change the time on your time wrist. Like not even a high-ranking member of the military like her to either shorten or extend his tour, because at no point is anyone like, we need you to stay for the fight. I'm extending your tour. Or well, we need you to leave right now because we cannot possibly risk the toxin, like, not making it to the past, so go right now. He has to wait out the exact 7-day count.
that's pretty dumb.
It's super dumb.
His watch would never, like, put them in the wrong position. If the watch says he's got to stay, he's got to stay. I don't know what to tell you. It's a good watch. Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Stupid.
So can we talk about how they explain time travel? This is back in orientation, but I think it's worth talking about.
Sure.
We get like a micro time breakdown. So Sam Richardson goes, "Hey, have you noticed everyone here who's their sendings like over 40? It's probably because we're all dead in the future, and everyone who's training us is real young. So like they're not born yet. That's probably how this is going down. And so obviously they're all asking the people. It's like, well, why are you sending us into the meat grinder? Can't you like go even further back or go to a different point so we can like stop this and we don't have to go like fight?" And the explanation's like really weird. It's like, time is a river. It only flows in one direction. But we made a raft that... Do either of you remember like how exactly they explain this? Because I kind of
it's like time is a river, and we have connected 2 rafts on the river, but they're still flowing down the stream. So we can only send back and forth between the rafts where time... So, like, we can only send you to as far from when we showed up. Like, the amount of time that has been since we showed up, we can only send you to that period of time from when we invented the time travel.
Right.
It's a strict linear progression.
So, like,
Which actually,
if that's...
I honestly thought that was fine as an explanation. Like, it's stupid, but I mean, you got to set some ground rule for time travel, or else what are we even doing?
Well, but, like, if that's the case, build another time machine. What's stopping you from building one now and going back another 30 years? Or what's stopping you from building one 5 or 6 years before the white spikes show up? Like, go back in time, give them the blueprints, and then have them build one 20 years later.
Sure.
Right? Like, but I'm saying, like, the weirdest part is we have this one future, the only bad version, which is the one where the white spikes show up in X year, 2050 or whatever. Yeah. But we have time travel technology now, but it's not like it's like a new mineral or something. And even if it was, we could probably send it back in time because everybody gets to keep their clothes when they go forward in time. And you get to keep the vial of stuff. It's not like Terminator. You get everything you bring. And so, yeah, what's stopping us from building another time machine at a better time, and then that's pretty good.
Great point, Nando.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I really like. I don't want to be a stickler for time travel because time travel's silly. But it is weird when they're using it the dumbest way to solve their problem. Like, I know what their problem is. They tell me. And I watch them try to figure it out, and it's like, well, that's not it. Like, you guys could go back in time. That's a way to solve a problem like that. But they find the dumbest way. It's fascinating. I feel like not like you never see movies like this, but like not that much where, in Back to the Future, it's like, well, I know why they can't do everything maybe the exact way they want to do it. It's like, that's fine. But in this, it's like, you guys totally could. If you just tried, it would be fine. And they just don't do the thing that way. So weird.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of, like, what a better version of the premise of this movie is. I feel like there's just one where, like, make the threat something more interesting. Don't just make it aliens. Like, I think that's, like, where this movie, like, really fails. Is that, like, they couldn't decide on, like, a good way for it to be menacing. Like, everything is, like, so short-sighted. It's like, okay, we want it to be the future, and we want it to be, like, a scary, like, alien thing. Oh, and I want the apocalypse. And it's like, everyone was just at a board meeting, and they, like, just had a wish list of things they wanted. And they got it. And then some writers had to be like, oh, my God, how do we have to fucking explain this? This is so hard. And then this is the kind of movie you get.
It does feel like for the movie, for like the writers, it was like, we're going to call it the Tomorrow War. So you figured that out. All right. You call me when you figured out a movie that's Tomorrow War. Also, you have 25 minutes, so better get on it. Like, yeah, it's wild.
Starship Troopers, but stupid.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Like, there's nothing stopping them from, like, doing something interesting. Like, they could, easily just do that.
What is the interesting version of this movie?
Just like pick one of the points. Give it a point. Like it's it's about you get to the war and the war commanders are stupid or something, and it's like, oh, maybe the war wasn't the best idea. Like, you gotta pick what it's a metaphor for, and then pick what its premise on the metaphor is for. And like we said, it kind of seems to want to be about time travel almost. But the closer you get to that, the closer it's like, well, that's actually can't be what it is, because if it was, then it would be that. Like the movie would have to have some sort of opinion on time travel or on global warming that it doesn't have. It's just it's really weird.
It's I think of an interesting version of this movie is where it's like not an existential war for the future of humanity, but this is just the way we recruit for wars now, where we just find increasingly expendable people that we don't have to care about sending into grinders.
That's something.
And so then it becomes like a commentary on how little we care about the people we send to die.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
What a great movie that would be.
Yeah. What about you, DJ? What's your pitch? You were given 30 seconds to come up with a movie called The Tomorrow War.
I just want like a villain that like we can't overcome except by being like really much. We have to be like way smarter than. I think that's what I want. That I'm kind of missing from this movie. That's what I want. That's what I want in everything I watch. I want a better villain. It's like,
what if the war is us fighting ourselves from the future? Something like they draft you and you go into the future and you're on one team, but then you also have to fight yourself on the other team, and it's like, oh my god, they're just keeping all the soldiers for this infinite war. You have to call it Infinity War, and that's illegal.
What if the future people are coming back to fight us for not stopping climate change?
Yeah, that would be fun. And they like want to take over the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, you didn't do anything, so we're coming to take over all the governments so that the future isn't fucked forever.
Oh, yeah. Jeff Bezos would never let that movie through. I mean, most of these movies he would never let through, but that one's never making it through.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I think we have 4 good movies, and we just need to go back in time and hand them to the people in charge of these movies and let them make one of them.
Well, fortunately, since we're probably almost at the end of this podcast, after Chris Pratt gets sent back in time, he has the vial of poison. He gives it to scientists. They mass produce it, and the movie's over.
Well, yeah, you like, think so, right?
Well, what a movie that was. What are you talking about, Nando? That's definitely what happens. Anything to the contrary would be fucking insane. And I couldn't even conceive of that being a reality that happened in a movie where people got paid and shit. There's just no way. right?
DJ, I hate to burst your bubble,
Right?
but that did happen in a movie where people got paid and shit.
What?
It happened in this very movie.
No, it didn't.
Oh, no.
Get
It
the
certainly
fuck out.
did. There
We're
was
not
even
done?
more movie.
Oh, no.
Yep.
I'm upset.
It never ends. It's a movie that never ends.
It's the real Tomorrow War.
Yeah, it
Me
is the
having
Tomorrow
to
War.
with myself watching this movie.
The real Tomorrow War starts here.
Yeah, it's fascinating. This part. Could you explain this? I mean, this is easily where I think the movie. You for a second you're like, oh, is the movie going to say something? But then it's not as well.
I might have been too busy texting you guys to pay attention, but what I think happens is Chris Pratt's like, I got it, guys. I got the vial. And they're like, a time machine went boom boom in 2050, so no more time travel. So that's it. And the world's collapsing into chaos. So...
Because apparently they didn't announce, like, the future gave us the toxin that will kill the aliums, so it's not a problem anymore. Apparently they just didn't say anything about that. So everyone just assumes we're going to die. Not unreasonably.
Right, and that's a movie, too. Is like the future people come and then everybody just loses it. And that's, like, kind of interesting. But
yeah, no, we don't get that one either.
They, like, say there's unrest and protests, first anti-war protests, and then unrest because everyone thinks we're going to die. But, like, the movie never shows us any of that.
Yeah.
It's just an idea on a TV screen.
Well, because that would have to happen outside and not a hallway. I mean, maybe you could put the hallways into outside, but it's got to be a hallway.
Well, and, like, kids are still going to school, right? Like,
That's
stuff's
true.
happening.
Yeah, it's only been a week since he was at school and he got his text.
Yeah,
why did everything get so bad?
This is like, did either of you ever play the game Detroit Become Human?
No, I did not.
Familiar with, but I never played it.
It's a bad game, but
no kidding. Who made it? A lunatic? Okay.
A like racist, misogynistic lunatic. It's coming out recently.
Yeah, it's the best kind.
But that's a game that takes place in the future. And early on in that game, it says there's something insane stat like unemployment's at 50%, and like the society it presents is not very different from our own. Like when you consider unemployment was like what 30% at the height of the Great Depression, and it like fundamentally like reshaped society in ways that are unimaginable to people who didn't live through it.
Yeah.
It's just like this total failure of imagination where you want to say like this world historical like society shattering event is happening, but you just can't conceive of society actually functioning different, so nothing is actually different.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a bad
anyway.
That's true. This movie has this exact same problem, and like, so we get. I forget the exact sequencing of events, but he goes to talk to his wife to explain the problem, and she's like, well, how are we gonna find him? So we're never gonna find him. So there was no crash site; they just showed up in Russia. It's like, what if they didn't come from above? But what if a hole opened in the Pacific Rim, and that's how they came out?
Yeah. We would never see that one coming, I'll tell you that.
And then the movie becomes Pacific Rim 3, baby.
Sure.
I'll take it.
At least I'd enjoy it then. At least I know it'd be well written or have good action scenes if it wasn't well written.
Idris Elba then walks into their living room and it's like, today's the day we're canceling the apocalypse.
I mean, literally, that's what someone should have said in this movie, right? It's like, we are going to cancel the apocalypse. We're coming back in time. The apocalypse is coming. We have canceled it.
We're good. Chris Pratt. I was going to say, Chris Pratt should have said, we're canceling the apocalypse, just like all those out-of-control leftists are trying to cancel good old-fashioned Americans.
Yeah. Let him kiss Sleeping Beauty. She needs it. I don't know.
She was asking for it. Look how she's dressed.
It's pretty good. They, it's, but you'd think that. You'd think. And I know a lot of people have said this is maybe the dumbest thing this movie posits. And I think they'd have a point to say that. But you'd think that anyone ever has had this thought.
Like, good for the wife for getting there, but, you know.
Yeah, it's like...
it's
not
never
like,
come up.
Unless the future people literally didn't even tell them that much when they came back, because they're that tight-lipped about the aliens for literally no reason. Like, presumably... like governments and their top scientists and stuff have known these facts about the alium attack, and you'd think one of them would have thought, like, well, maybe the reason we can't find any evidence is because they were already here.
Shut up, Steve! You fucking idiot! Doesn't
Yeah,
make
see,
any
that
goddamn
sounds like
sense.
something that the suits, like those government science suits, would say, and they can't understand this. They're not the right kind of people, you know.
You're right. If this movie has taught us anything, it's that the government can't be trusted.
Exactly.
A
Exactly.
thing that is almost verbatim stated very shortly after this scene.
Yeah. So good. I fucking love that bit. Oh my god. But yeah, I mean, we have the cure, right? So we should call the government and be like, "Hey, government, we got it. We figured it out. Congratulations to us."
They have to solve them. They have to solve the whole mystery first, which like involves.
Oh yeah. Okay. So we've learned. So we learned that maybe they showed up somewhere else. So it's like, okay, well, Chris Pratt's like, I know a guy that actually has a tooth that they just let him fucking carry around. I guess, I don't know. It's like a dinosaur tooth, and how do you know where it's from, dude? It's an alien. I guess like he's like, well, you got a terminal disease, whatever. Maybe this is where you get it from. This thing could be very dangerous.
Yeah, right.
But this guy is like, I'll just Chris Pratt's like, can I borrow it so we can check to see where it's from? And then the guy's like, I guess, I don't know, man. And
No. It's much dumber than that.
What does he do?
Is, like,
I can't remember.
Still like, there's no point. Fuck the world. We can't save anything. And then Chris Pratt is like, no, you don't understand. I don't care about the world either. I have no regard for my fellow human beings in any way, shape, or form. However, my daughter is someone who might get hurt if the aliens show up. And I need to protect my daughter. And he's like, oh, well, if it's for your daughter, then yeah, definitely. Just not the world. Fuck the world.
I mean, the world gave us this movie, so fair. You know?
Yeah.
It's a reasonable, decision to come to. Yeah.
It's like...
spaceships are so good, guys. It's going to be safe. It's going to be safe.
These scenes feel like someone who has heard the advice that audiences care more about personal stakes with characters they care about than just like generically being told the world is in danger, which is true. In a movie, that is true. It is better to have a personal connection. It makes it feel more real. But that's a different thing than like literally having your characters talk about how they don't give a single shit about the world and like only care about their families. That just makes them seem like sociopaths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that movie where what's her name was like, my son's in the time stream? Tenet? That was fun.
Yeah, it's big Tenet energy on that one.
Yeah, we don't need more of that, but maybe we get it.
I think the line in Tenet is literally like, if we don't do this, then every human being on the planet will die. And she goes, including my son.
Yeah. Oh, movies.
My son.
We gotta put a hold on movies until we can sort this whole thing out. We need to make sure.
Mind.
Yeah. But yeah, so okay, gets the dinosaur thing. He gives it to Sam Richardson, who works at a, like, not dinosaur, but you know what I mean, like the claw. He gives it to Sam Richardson, and he's like, hey, can you examine this for stuff? Which is another thing I guess we've never done. And Sam Richardson says, well, there's some sort of ash on the thing, on the claw. Isn't that interesting?
And then Chris Pratt says, really? Literally 3 years after their initial appearance, this one random alien still has residue from their origin point?
Yeah.
Just like hanging on their claw? That seems unlikely. And
It
Sam
would be
Richardson
unlikely.
says, shut up.
Yeah, except, and especially if it's like something that a guy has worn around. Like, it's gotten the rain.
Right.
Yeah, it's very good. But so we learn that there's ash, but it's like volcanic ash.
Whoa.
That's unusual since we think it came from ice.
If
So
only there
I
was
guess
somebody
that
we knew who knew a lot about volcanoes.
But we don't know anybody like that. So they went to the government and found a scientist who knew about that. One assumes.
Right. And then the government said, oh, you've gathered some evidence that might potentially point to them already being here, so we could take care of the problem now. Well, it's kind of a long shot, but I suppose this is literally an issue of world importance, like the survival of the entire human race. So it wouldn't hurt us to send a small team out to at least check it out and then report back.
You can even go if you want to go so badly. We'll let you go, too.
No.
We'll just put a little tracker on you in case you die so we know where you went.
Resources.
Yeah. But instead they go to a high school child who is a big fan of volcanoes.
I can't believe the fucking Chekhov's gun of this movie is volcanoes.
It's
that's
amazing.
The Chekhov's gun of this movie.
I'm
Earlier,
so proud
it's
of
like,
this movie.
Fucking Steve wants to talk about his fucking volcanoes, fucking loser. And then it's like, I forget what the exact line is, but Chris Pratt's right. The fate of the world could rest on you knowing something about volcanoes. And the kid goes, I knew this day would come.
Yeah.
And then he gets all snarky. He's like, oh, I think it's from here. Someone give me a laptop. Like, we're in a fucking classroom. What the fuck are you people doing?
Also,
why is Chris Pratt doing this in the middle of one of his classes that he brought his two friends who don't work at this school to?
Yeah, everybody's there. Was he like, well, I mean, this guy obviously, I'll wait until Monday. And you guys come in, around like 11:30, right before lunch, and we'll solve the mystery of the aliens with my volcano friend. But until then, I don't know, just like hang out.
It's so dumb.
Yeah, it's the best. Also, in that scene, it's even more preposterous than that, I think, kind of, because it's like, the question they ask is like, hey, there's this ash, but the thing's supposed to be in Russia. And in part of he's just like, I guess they fucking lied to you. I don't know what to tell you, but like, governments lie about stuff all the time. And like, Russia specifically, not super forthright. I mean, not ours, none of them really would be if they were the one that accidentally did this. But he goes, yeah, that's Russia, but it has this ash. Are there any volcanoes that may have seemed to be this ash? And the kid's like, oh, of course, there was this one from this time and whatever. And then Chris Pratt's like, can you give us a readout of where the ash would have landed exactly so we can triangulate the location in Russia? Are you out of your fucking mind? It's a volcano from the past. This kid doesn't know that.
Also, the kid literally says, when he mentions it, he's like, yeah, it was this huge explosion. It blew ash like across half the entire world. It's like,
yeah.
So you could narrow it down to half the world then. Cool. Thanks.
So they have determined through magic that they know where it is. And they go to the government suit. Or no, they don't go to the government. Well, yeah, they go to the government suit and they're like, here's where it is. This is great,
so,
isn't
like
it?
Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, someone high
Secretary
up in
of
the
Defense.
U.S. government who is willing to take their call.
Real quick, by the way, so they're like, oh, they must have like dug up. And I think one of the best parts of this movie is they're like, do a glacial melt of 30 years from now.
Yeah.
And there's just no glaciers left. It's like,
And everyone just everyone's just like, well, yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Sunk cost.
And like,
Yeah,
no one seems worried about it.
Right, and I feel like this is the point in my head where I'm like, oh, okay. So the characters are going to decide to fix global warming. Because that will keep the aliens at bay.
Yes.
That's actually very clever, isn't it? And then it's like, nah. Obviously, that's going to happen no matter what we do. There's no way to stop that. We have to kill all the aliens under the ice. That's the only solution.
Oh, God.
Yeah, once we've killed all the aliums, then the fact that all of Siberia is going to melt in 30 years isn't a problem.
Also, if I'm in charge of, if I'm Chris Pratt's character, right? I call the secretary and I'm like, hey, I think the aliens are here, whatever. I have that information. Just lie. Be like, the future people told me that if we don't dig up the aliens, everyone dies. Just fucking, what are they going to do? Check? They can't check. They have to listen to you.
Everyone's on board. The Tomorrow War people are here now.
Yeah.
Which, by
Tell
the way,
them to lie, too. Tell everyone
Also,
to lie.
Awkward for them because they're going to go through life at the same point as, like, themselves.
Yeah.
So they'll be identical copies of them, just displaced by 30 years. So that's fucking fun.
Right? Like, yeah, I don't quite understand how that also doesn't cause a paradox or any of the problems that we would have been worried about in this situation as well.
Right.
But
quick, you all have to die. We have to send you.
Yeah.
It's a kid to kill you now.
But yeah, so those guys are just there, and they're like, I guess we have to stay here now. So they're part of the team. So we get so the government says, what does the government say?
Well, the SecDef is like, oh, we can't. There's so much going on. The world's going to collapse. We can't start an engagement with an American evil adversary, Russia.
Yeah,
and start a conflict.
We all know.
So you're on your own.
We all know Russia couldn't possibly care about saving the world from a thing that would kill them first, specifically.
Yeah.
So we couldn't ask them.
Like, I feel like, I mean, what they do works. It's perfect, whatever. But there's so many ways you could just fuck with people and be like, we're just going to take a satellite, drop it on this random spot. No one will care. Just like, oh, satellite fell out of the air. Isn't that weird? But, like, just, yeah, have someone else start a fake war there or something. I don't know. Buy it from them. Buy it for billions of dollars. Just that one little square. And they can have it. But
and it doesn't even wind up mattering because, you know, the solution is Chris Pratt goes to his estranged father who has a helicopter, and the team just flies into Siberia. No problem. No fucking problem. Russia's like, yeah, go with it. We don't even have people patrolling up there. Fucking go.
I guess there's chaos, but also how do they even, like... It's... That feels like such a tough flight, flying through Siberia. How do you find, like, not how do you find a place, because, you know, I'm sure you could do it, but, like, I feel like you would have to be a master navigator to find, like, a specific spot in the middle of the Siberian wilderness. But they are, so that works.
Yeah, they're just so great at...
And who goes with them, speaking of that?
Okay, so here's the team. This is a great team. We got Chris Pratt, Sam Richardson, J.K. Simmons the father, the random people from the Tomorrow War who are stuck here now. Is that it?
The guy with the claw.
Oh, Mr. Claw guy. Yeah.
That Claw, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Does
and
action
he's
star
going to
Betty Gilpin
trust-
go?
No.
What?
She's a lady, Nando.
Yeah.
We can't have ladies doing action scenes.
That's at least not present ladies.
She's
Future
a mother.
ladies can go. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly not the precious wives of our main characters. You know, they must be protected at all costs.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. That's 100% true. And yeah, that's a squad.
J.K. Simmons, by the way, Chris Pratt has decided to forgive him because he found out in the future that hasn't happened. He was going to do a bad thing, and he's like, now I understand you did a bad thing because I heard from someone telling me that I would do a bad thing, even though I haven't actually experienced it myself. Makes me want to forgive you now.
And it's the same shit where it's like he's like, oh, actually, now that I've been to war, I understand PTSD, and like, what kind of asshole is Chris Pratt that he's like, his dad left him because he had extreme PTSD. Chris Pratt was in the army or something, and he's still like, fuck him though. Yeah. Faker.
He was in the Iraq War.
Yeah. Does he not know people that have PTSD? Does he have no sympathy for any of them? What an asshole.
Right?
Chris Pratt's guy's the worst.
All these guys. Everyone's the worst is the problem.
He's almost as bad a person as Dominic Toretto.
Whoa, we're not relitigating this.
Yeah.
You hush your mouth.
So they go to the Siberia. They find it easily. What's their plan?
Go into the nest, blow it up with some fucking C4, and see what happens.
No, DJ. That's the backup plan.
No, that's the plan. What are you guys talking about? That's the plan. So we're going to go in with C4. Because, guys, they don't have, like, a toxin that can just kill them, so they have to use C4. Because the aliums are not resistant to explosives or fire. So what choice do they have?
I mean, DJ, make a great point. However, if there was a toxin, would you want to use that instead a little bit?
I mean,
that'd be kind of cool. How would we put it in the aliens?
Of course,
I don't fucking know.
Of course, Nando, you would want to use the toxin because that would be simple and effective. You just like get some kind of air pump or something and pump the toxin throughout the entire ship, so that it just kills all the aliens at once, And then, you don't have to, worry. You're not causing any big explosions. You don't have to put yourself in danger. It's a nice, simple, effective solution.
And these aliens are all alive down there, right? Just like crawling around. So that's why we can't shoot them. Just walk up to each one and just pop it, Or is it that they're all asleep in little pods? Easily shootable. If any of us decided to, because we know where to shoot them. We have the military guy.
Easily just set up a bunch of explosives, like DJ said.
Yeah.
Around all the little pods, get to a safe distance, and then blow them up.
But
all
no,
of
guys.
These great plans. Great plans.
Instead of that, we're going to use our little, magic syringes full of green to give them little alien, deaths. Have their little alien parts melt away. Now, here's a question.
One at a time.
One at a time, yep, starting from the right or something. But here's my question, right? They don't know what is in this spaceship.
Nope.
None of them have been in it. Why did they think this will even work? Why are they like, oh, we'll use these little 4-inch fucking syringe? What if it's glass? What if you have to open the thing? You don't know. You don't know anything. What if there's turrets that blow you up as you walk in the ship?
And moreover, so before they go in, Chris Pratt gives his, fucking speech, which is the worst speech in the world, where he's like, guys, we don't have to do this. We can take photos, give the evidence to the government, they take care of the rest.
Oh, yeah.
And, they're not all like, oh, my God, what are we fucking doing? Let's get the fuck out of here. But, even if you want to do the brave thing, they haven't told anyone. So if they all die here, that's it. The Tomorrow War is going to happen.
Yep, you freed them, so it even
not
happens the day
Not only
before
that,
tomorrow.
DJ, the Tomorrow War will happen 27 years early before the government could have produced the toxin that will make it not be anywhere near as bad. They're risking making the problem much, much worse than it was going to be, and probably killing off humanity for real, because we won't have time to build the time machines or anything, because they think the government is bad and stupid and won't do things fast. They literally organized a worldwide draft system, complete with the dumb time risks, to fight the time war. And you think that that 27 years is not enough time if you tell them exactly where the aliens are to figure out a way to kill them? Are you fucking kidding me?
It's so stupid.
Also, there's one detail that I think is really funny about when they go into the spaceship. Because it's a fucking spaceship, first of all. It's not just like a little bundle of them.
Yeah,
it's like a full-on spaceship. So they walk in, and they're all like, oh, wow, spaceship. And they find the first group of aliens that drove the spaceship. And somebody's like, these aren't the aliens. These must be other aliens. Nobody has any interest in this. They're all just like, I guess we gotta blow them up too, right? We found a second group of aliens. At least drag them out for study or take a picture or something. Like, this is really interesting. Like, I feel like even if you went to the government and you were like, hey, government friends, you know what? Fuck you. Look what we did. We killed all the aliens, and we blew them all up, and we blew up their spaceship, and we blew up the aliens that were in charge that weren't the ones you thought. They'd be like, you blew the second things up too? No, we need those. We were just waiting. We didn't think you'd go blow them up.
I love this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like that exists solely because this movie is incapable of original ideas.
Yeah.
And in Alien, that's what it is there was another alien race that was piloting the ships, and the xenomorphs were things that they were carrying. And so because that's true in Aliens, it's got to be true here.
Yep. I also think, I want to get one detail which I remembered, which killed me. So I remember being like, and this is a little like we missed this one because I forgot about it. So Chris Pratt comes back in time, right? From being like in the future, he comes back to the present day.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember how, what happens immediately as he is coming back into, the present day? Like, how he gets there?
I do not.
He just, falls onto the floor from height. Again.
Yeah.
A concrete floor. Now, I get that the time travel to the forward part, that part got all fucked up, so whatever. But the time travel back part worked fine, because he's still in the facility, and it's still a fucking concrete floor. We can't put down a mat for everybody to fall on? What are we doing here? Like, it really seems like a scam. So much of a, like, you'd get there and you'd go, well, there's no mat, so they must not think we're going to come back. Are we all supposed to die in the future? Like, and it's like, nah, they just didn't think about it. Everybody must come back from the future with a broken arm. And it's like, did you break your arm during war? No, actually. The time travel machine just drops you about 10 feet off the ground, and I landed on the hard ground. Broke my arm. Look at that. So
that's
stupid.
real PTSD. Where that's coming from.
Yeah.
It's fucking incompetent boobs. Ugh.
But okay, so they start injecting the aliens one by one, starting from the right or left or whatever, but not the center, because that's where the queen is. Got to leave her for last.
Yeah.
The first couple of them go well, but then what happens?
I legitimately forgot. The next thing I remember is the guy doing the thing where he says the line.
They inject 5 of the tens of thousands of aliums in this thing with the toxin, and it works. They die, but they die like writhing and screaming in agony, which then makes all the other aliums wake up, which seems like something you should have thought of.
It's so funny. Well, if only they had a full government of people to all do it at the same time or something.
Yeah.
If it wasn't a 6-man operation with 2 of the men outside the front door watching in case the aliens show up.
Or maybe to do just like a tiniest bit of research to think about what you're doing for a single goddamn second.
Yeah.
I also actually I want to say one second. Something that the movie I don't think ever answers. So this is buried deep under the ice, and they could only escape from the ship itself after the ice all melts, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
What makes them wake up from their pods in 2048?
Well, they implied that like they were just waiting for the ice to melt, so then they could dig through.
So they're awake that whole time and are also immortal?
I mean, maybe.
I guess so, yeah. I don't know.
Because they're just sleeping in pods. Like,
yeah.
It seems like they would need to be activated or woken up.
Right, or they would just die eventually.
So, like, yeah, how have they lived this long? Unless those are, like, suspended animation pods. And if they are, then how do they wake up?
Yeah.
The ice melting wouldn't wake them up, I don't think.
I mean, maybe
They have,
the
like, a
ice...
timer.
Maybe it would melt, and then like that would jostle the spaceship, and then someone's hand would accidentally fall into a button, and then that would be the open all the doors button. Kind of like how in movies, when you shoot the driver of a car, their foot automatically hits the fucking gas pedal at full like weight. That would be that, except it would be the hatch that releases all the eggs and opens the doors and stuff. That's it. How dumb is this movie? This movie's so dumb. This movie has, like, it's got a bit where there's aliens, right? And it's like the characters are not told about the aliens, and then they go into the future and there's aliens and they start ripping everybody to shreds. People start asking questions about the aliens, and it's like, where do the aliens come from? And it's like, nobody knows. We actually never saw a spaceship land. We just kind of have a vague idea of where it came from. How crazy is it that the answer is they are aliens, though? Right? Like... How is that not set up for there's some experiment or they're mole people or they're people mutated or something? No, they are what we thought. We didn't get the date exactly right. Such a stupid movie. But okay, so yeah, one of them starts writhing and they all make noise, and then it's funny because it does seem like they start stabbing the 5 or 6 of them that are in the room, and then the past or the future soldier who's with them like looks down a hallway and notices that there's a bazillion of them, and like I don't know if Chris Pratt's guy knows that at the moment they start killing all of them, because they just saw some and went, these must be them. It started going. Yeah, so good. How did they have time to put all that C4 in?
I know. So now all the aliens are
before the aliens even wake up. The 3 tours of duty guy is like, the only way to do this, it's too important. We need someone to stay behind and manually set off the charges. And I'm like, why?
Yep.
They're asleep. Just set them and detonate it from afar.
Yeah, if it doesn't go off, just go back in and fuddle with the wires and then go back out and press the button again.
if you're struggling with suicidal thoughts, we can talk about that later, but there's no reason to indulge it right now.
Yeah. Also, yeah, I feel like we didn't talk about this kind of... So they cut their way into the spaceship with a buzzsaw or something, like a table saw. And then Chris Pratt is like, all right, so here's what we're going to do. Me and the 2 or 3 of them, I can't remember, we're going to go in and get them. And if that doesn't work, Dad and Nerd, you two are going to sit outside in case something happens. Who knows? Maybe we accidentally release all of them. Worst case scenario, and you're going to kill all of them. That's your job. You guys are on guard duty to kill the aliens that are going to escape. It's like, what the fuck are they going to do? You couldn't even fight these guys in the future with planes, and you got Sam Richardson and fucking J.K. Simmons, and you're just going to mow them all down? No! But maybe.
Well, I mean, right, so... It's dumb because it goes FUBAR.
Oh yeah,
and they're forced to use the C4, but it's like, why wasn't that just the plan? Why are you stabbing all of them? It doesn't seem like any you're gonna. They only wake because of the writhing in pain. So use all the C4 and just blow them the fuck up.
Right.
Use a lot of it. Be super thorough. And don't they use a ton of C4 to blow a hole to get into where they are, and that doesn't wake the aliens up?
No, I think they use don't they use the saw?
They use C4 to blow up the ice to get to the ship in the first place.
Oh, yes.
And that didn't wake up the aliens.
They're
just like, oh, well.
I feel like there's so many things you could do. One of them, which I think this might not be I feel like the way they do it is the dumbest way. You could fill the boat or the whole alien spaceship with C4 and then go to the government and be like, hey, we filled this whole spaceship with C4. We can detonate it right now. And we're going to do that unless you guys want to go check on it. You guys check, right? You could start looking through it. But if you decide not to because your government suits, it will explode. So, make your choice. But, they do it the worst way. And they're so bad at it that the Queen does escape. And then we get the silliest fucking thing. Just so fucking silly.
I can't believe this happens.
Oh, man.
I almost kind of liked it. That it ended with them punching it, but it's insane.
You heard him right, folks.
Yeah, they punched the alien. Daddy and son punch it together.
There's a fake sacrifice thing with J.K. Simmons where he's like going to sacrifice himself.
Oh yeah.
He goes, "I'm sorry, son. I'm sorry."
Mm-hmm.
Also, they do this thing where like 7 separate times, it's like one of them does the big sacrifice, like, I'm gonna take it down with me. And then the other one hops in at the last minute and saves them. And it's like, you can do that twice max before it becomes stupid.
Yep.
Like, by the last one, I'm like, one of you just die already.
Yeah.
Good God. We can't just keep hopping back and forth with this.
No, I sacrifice. No, I sacrifice. No, I sacrifice. Chris Pratt kicks off a cliff. Not before he stabbed it, though, with the toxin to not make that totally pointless.
And that part was fun, though.
Imagine.
When he stabs it with the toxin, it just cuts that arm off, and it's like, whoops, this wasn't even going to work. This was the plan. And this wouldn't have done, like, we couldn't have used this on the aliens in the past either. Or not past, the present past, the past of the movie. Like, this toxin is so ineffective. But hey, at least the daughter died making it.
Yeah, she got the sacrifice.
All those people died getting it.
Yep, it was very important.
Yeah. Like, it's so
but
funny.
But also, none of them died in the first place because we just stopped that all from ever happening at all.
That's true.
The only people who died are the future people and Tour of Duty Man, who all died for no reason because we couldn't bother ourselves to do the slightest bit of reconnaissance the second we found the aliens.
Right? Now, here's my thing with Tour of Duty Man. He did die during this, right? They have to tell his family, right?
I'm going to die my way. Yeah.
Like, people have to know about that. What do they say? Like, hey, your uncle's dead. Don't worry. He exploded, killing all the aliens in Russia. You'll never hear about this because no one knows it happened.
Well, no, at the end, the DOD person says, I sent a team
that's true. That's true.
Your dad was on that team.
He takes all the credit for it.
Yep. Fucking Suits, am I right?
Yeah, fucking jokes.
Oh, man. Yeah, that movie's... This is like... I mean, it's one of the dumbest movies I've ever seen.
I can see why people wanted us to do this movie. We got the 5-star podcast, 5-star runtime.
Oh, my God. Yeah, this is the first one over 3 hours in a while.
In a while, yeah. I don't think... maybe we'll get there with Black Widow, but I feel like I'm going to have less to say.
I doubt it. There's no... I mean, I've seen it. It's not as dumb as this. Like, there's some things in it that you're like, that's a little silly. But nothing even remotely as interesting as this.
That's what I mean, right? It's
in a
podcasting
like, sense.
Yeah. I mean, my take, guys, don't watch this movie. Even though it's so accessible, because everyone has Amazon Prime, so, like, you can watch this movie at any moment. Don't. Or, here's what you do. You watch up to the hour 36 mark and pretend it was the whole movie. And you'll be like, it's a harmless action popcorn flick. You know, not great, not terrible. And then pretend that is the actual movie. And you won't have as bad experience.
Or watch it with your friends, and you all take a drink every time Chris Pratt asks for clarification on a really obvious point.
Yeah, there's definitely a drinking game to be had here. Like, I don't know what it is exactly, but...
You could drink to enjoy the movie.
I think you could do a drinking game or like some sort of game where you watch the movie and every 5 minutes you pause and everybody has to take a guess at what happens in the next 5 minutes.
Oh, that's
and then whoever's the closest doesn't drink and everybody else does. I mean, it doesn't have to be a drinking game, but I do think something about this movie is it's so unpredictable because of how dumb most of it is. That I think it would be kind of fun to go through this. And I mean, you can't do this anymore because you listen to the whole podcast. But if you didn't, to go through and go, what do I think they're going to do next? What's the twist? Where are the aliens actually? And it's like, that you'll never guess. It's
insane that there is no secret bad guy where it's like the Russians did an experiment to blah, 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 blah. Like, it just, nope. It is what it is. It's just long.
And it is insane to me that, like, I think the worst thing about this movie is it is a movie where at one point very clearly the characters say climate change is going to cause the aliens to hatch, and nobody
even
takes a guess at like, well, wouldn't this work? Because I feel like I watched
nobody even treats solving climate change as a realistic solution.
Right. I was gonna say I watched a video. It's almost like a movie a while back. Cody Johnson from Some More News. They did like a feature-length episode of their show where he talked about like the news and in the frame of like apocalypses and apocalypse movies. One of the things he pointed out that I think was so interesting that I've never thought about before is back in the day, you had movies like Terminator, right? And Terminator was about there's a robot and it's going to be a robot apocalypse, and how do we stop it? What are we going to do about it? And like. Trying to think of other apocalypse movies, but that was the gist of it.
Armageddon.
Yeah, Armageddon. Sure, that's not bad. And our generation's apocalypse movies are like, yep, the apocalypse happened. Now what do we do next? How do we survive the apocalypse that happened? Yeah. We have given up on stopping it. We're just trying to figure out how to have like wasteland maze runner battles to find the extra, special humanity leader, Mad Max it up. But like, yeah, it's such a foregone conclusion. It's very depressing. But I mean, we could fix it completely within our power, and we are not in the future, so we're in the current day. So who knows? Maybe people will start taking it seriously.
Yeah, I'm not going to get drafted to solve this problem. Psh.
Yeah, right.
Maybe the people in charge will watch this movie and they'll say, well, we can't have the aliens kill everybody. We've got to solve climate change.
Right?
Wow, what a down note to end on.
Yeah, what if the whole movie was like the whole setup is the same, right? Chris Pratt, all these guys, they do all the like drafting and they look at all your medical history and whatever. And then they take you to the future and then you just like land in the thing and then they just execute you. And it's like, what happened? And it's like, that guy was going to burn the most carbon. And that guy's going to burn the second most carbon. We're just getting rid of the individual carbon problems one by one. And then it's like, well, they all got killed by the white spikes. The scariest aliens ever. We don't have any pictures of them. Don't worry. They were totally there. I just, yeah. This movie's silly. And it's great that it's Amazon. and Jeff Bezos is going to space like next week or whatever, just to check, just see if there's anything cool up there.
Carbon.
We all hope and pray that nothing bad happens when he goes to space.
Yeah, he'll probably be fine. Spaceships are usually fine. I think it'll be good. Don't even bother. O-rings, they fixed that. They probably got that all sorted.
We can't bother to protect like astronauts, but like Jeffrey Bezos is gonna be the safest place to be is on that spaceship.
Jeffrey Bezos, I want to say real quick, if you're listening, it would be pretty embarrassing if you scrubbed the launch due to circumstances of the weather. I'm just saying, it would be cool if you were like, you know what, I'm gonna do it anyway. That would be cool.
Everyone would respect you and think you're really cool.
Yeah, Bill Gates and all of them would finally invite you into their club. Or whatever. You could go to Jeffrey Epstein's island. Whatever you rich people do.
Oh, God, all right.
Part of the
right.
team.
Where the secret clone of Jeffrey Epstein is still running all those parties.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. Oh, gosh.
So anybody got anything to wreck?
Oh, God. Do we have anything to wreck? Well, let's move on to our classic segment. DJ, you start. What do you have to recommend to the fine people?
All right, so I haven't had a bunch, but what I did read, and this is not like a new comic at all, but I decided to read like the 07 run of the Young Avengers, which probably features Kang. No reason, just decided to read up on McKang.
Yep.
You know, it's not related to any kind of thing. I did watch your video, Nando, and I found it funny because I think I had called you the night before you put up that video. So did you already record the video?
Oh yeah, I had recorded it already, man. And it was already, I believe at that point it was even already on Patreon.
Okay.
It's hard to have to write a video about a thing that everyone's talking about and then not have that conversation just in video, like that video in conversation form with people in the real world.
Well, yeah, no, because we did. We just had that conversation.
Yeah,
so that was funny.
I mean, that's why I started the channel in the first place. Was people were tired of talking to me about Spider-Man, so I decided to record my Spider-Man talk and see if the rest of the world wanted to hear about it. But yeah, Loki's. I mean, you can wreck Loki. Have we wrecked that yet?
Well, no. Like, I am actually wrecking the 2007 run of Young Avengers. It's a great comic.
Yeah, it's good. Who wrote that? I can't remember. It's
I'd have to run upstairs and get it.
Oh, I'll Google it. Because it is it's a good run. Young Avengers. I know, and like
it was Alan Heinberg.
That sounds right. Yes, it is.
Yep, Alan Heinberg.
Yeah, I liked, and I want to say Kieran Gillen wrote the second run of Young Avengers, which I might like a little bit more. That's the one where Kid Loki shows up, but still good.
Okay, yeah,
they're both good. But
yeah, I would definitely recommend it. It might be related to some things that we might find out by not by the time this podcast is released, but a couple days after probably. I'll have more to rec next week at the house, all set up and stuff. So I haven't played yet, and I can't believe it. I haven't played Final Fantasy VII Intergrade yet. I haven't been able to play as Yuffie and Boy, but I will certainly do that soon, and I will get back to you guys.
Is that the character's real name?
No, it's Sonnen, but I just refer to him as Boy.
Because he's not a main party member from the original game, unlike you.
I gotcha. Yeah. I thought it was a crossover with God of War, because isn't there a character that they just yell boy at the whole game?
Yeah, Kratos just Boy. Boy.
I don't have a PS5 still, and I really would like to play that DLC, but
it's a crime that you need a PS5 to play it. Like, that's crazy to me. So Young Avengers, check that out, and I'll have much more next week. I finished. I know I keep talking about it, but fucking F1 on Netflix. I finished season 2. The show's so good, it makes me want to get into actual Formula One racing. But I'll stop. But no one else watches that show for me to talk about it with. So
no, you know
maybe
what?
Maybe I'll have to start a YouTube channel to talk about F1.
I was actually talking to my other friend Neil. Not like other friend, but he was also like, I do watch this F1 show, and I was like, didn't you tell me about this before? And he's like, no, and I was like, oh yeah, I know another person that watches that show.
Yeah, it's really good.
I wouldn't say it's like it's not like a Tiger King, but I think it is kind of a hit.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll let you guys know how season 3 is, but I've just been like binging all that shit. So, yeah, that's all I got.
Nice. Diggins, what about you? You got anything to recommend to the fine people?
I do, yes. I saw a movie in theaters recently that was very funny, very good, and unlike this movie, is not a total waste of Sam Richardson, but in fact, an excellent deploying of his talents.
Oh,
nice.
You want to see We're the Millers. That's cool. That's cool.
Yep. I went to
Was
see
he in We're the Millers?
I think so. All right, well, Diggins, continue.
Maybe.
He
was in that movie. He was the husband in that movie where it's like the Zack and wedding date thing. Remember that one? He's in there. Yes. I remember. I believe you that he was in We're the Millers. I just can't remember when. Anyway, go on.
Diggins. Yeah.
That is not what I saw in a movie theater recently. What I saw in a movie theater recently is Werewolves Within.
Okay.
Yeah.
Technically an adaptation of a video game, but really it isn't. It's at best a very vague adaptation of the idea of like a mafia or werewolf game.
Right.
Where you have a town full of people. One of them's a secret werewolf murderer, and they have to try and figure out who it is before they're all dead. Sam Richardson is the main character. He plays a forest ranger who recently got assigned to this very remote, northern town where this happens.
My gosh, what is worse than being a guy from the big city probably that gets assigned for a remote place, you know? I see it in so many movies. It seems dreadful.
Well, he's not really from the big city. He's from a slightly less remote rural area where he's a forest ranger.
Okay.
But he gets reassigned to this even more remote area. Because, I mean, he's a forest ranger, you know? He likes the woods and stuff.
That's true. That makes sense.
But yeah, so then it just goes like, you know, somebody gets killed by a mysterious wolf-like monster, and then they all start getting paranoid. They think there's a werewolf. They trying to figure out who amongst them is the killer. I think it's very good at turning up the tension on that in a way that feels earned, where it's not too much just like jump scares all the time. It's also extremely funny. Sam Richardson is playing his usual kind of character, where he's kind of like an awkward, tongue-tied nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just unlike this movie. It's a very heightened comedic universe where that plays really well, and it just like works. So yeah, it's this big ensemble cast, mostly of like smaller scale comedic performers like Sam Richardson. And so they just all play off each other really well. The editing is really tight. It's almost like Edgar Wright-esque in the way that they have like great visual like delivery of the jokes, because it's all edited together so well. And it's a very funny movie, and I would heartily recommend it. I think it was only a limited theatrical release, so I think it's actually going to be available on streaming very soon.
That's awesome.
If you don't want to venture out to a theater. But yeah, if you get the chance, you should definitely check it out, because it's a very funny movie.
Yeah, it's got a Squirrel Girl. Ugh, I can't even say that word. But the actress Melania Vaintrub, is that her name? Something like that. I know she's like the second lead in it.
Yeah. She's the female lead. She's also very funny.
Yeah, she was going to be in the. They were going to make a new Warriors show, I think, where she was going to be Squirrel Girl, and then they canceled it because it was probably a mess or something. Who knows?
Good.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, she's funny. And obviously Sam Richardson is great. Directed by Josh Rubin. Who is this fella? Because now I'm excited. Now I'm like, what else has he been up to? He made some stuff. A movie called Scare Me, which I've never heard of. Maybe that's cool. Oh, that's as an actor. What else has he directed? Oh, that Scare Me thing. Okay. Cool. Very fun. Oh, he used to direct. Oh, right. I knew this was something. The director of this is like a College Humor guy who directed like some Adam Ruins Everything and some College Humor originals and stuff. So, yeah. It's like an interesting kind of not breakout, but like, oh yeah, look, he got out. He's doing the big time movies now. It's probably why he knows all the comedians.
Yeah, that's most likely where they all came together from.
I do want to see this. If it is on VOD, I'll definitely check it out. Also, the writer of this movie's name is Mishna Wolf. Can't trust her. She's probably a wolf trying to sell us on the idea of being nice to wolves or something.
I didn't want to spoil it, but the twist at the end of the movie is that the writer of the movie is the werewolf, yeah.
That would be pretty good. Cool. I'm going to rec a couple things, some Netflixy stuff. First one, we've talked about this before, but the second season of I Think You Should Leave is on Netflix. I finished it the other day because the episodes are real short, which is a bummer. I would watch hours of it. But I would say if I had to rank the episodes, the second one's my favorite. So, excuse me, if you're showing it to someone who's never seen the show before, the second and the first ones are probably my two favorites. There's some really good stuff in there. But yeah, those are awesome, and it was a real treat. And I wish I wasn't already done with it. But like those, I feel like you can watch over and over again, and they usually, hold up.
Yeah, Auntie Donna's similar. I could watch that.
Yeah, they're very like I would love it if Netflix kind of revived the sketch comedy show with like interesting people instead of like. Kind of whatever stand-up comedian is popular now, which is like what,
Yeah.
I mean, it works once with like Chappelle Show, and then they try to do it with everybody. But, yeah, I would love it if Netflix was like, all right, this is like a niche comedy outfit from, Germany. Let's see if they could do a sketch show that people will like, and then it would happen. Because, yeah, I think You Should Leave and Auntie Donna's Big Old House of Fun are both great. I'll recommend as well... as far as comics, there weren't too many this week that I've read. Although there is a new X-Men run that just came out, written by Jerry Duggan, I think, is the name. And it's like a brand new team. It's Cyclops, Jean Grey, Wolverine, but Laura, not Logan, Sunfire, Polaris, Rogue, and Sync, which I think is so funny. Because a team with Rogue and Sync means you get all the powers twice. Like, she can absorb everyone's power by touching him, and Sync gets all the powers by being near the people. So, like, it's funny, on the cover, everybody's doing their thing, and just Sync's in the background with, like, one hand doing purple Jean Grey stuff, one hand doing green Polaris stuff, and just lasers popping out of his eyes. It's like, this guy is an insane team member. But, you do need to actually make the team around him. But, yeah, so that's fun. I was good at my big rec besides, like, this, and I saw Black Widow. It was pretty good. We'll talk about it more next week. But I watched a movie that I don't think we've talked about yet because I don't think we would have had the time, called America, the movie. Have you guys, either of you seen this?
I want to watch it. I want to watch it so badly.
It's pretty funny. I liked it. I think it's very silly, very stupid. It's got a Clone High-esque, like, vibe, although I wouldn't say the humor's quite as tight, but it's very, like, it's just supposed to be silly seeing all these people near each other. There's a lot of little visual gags, a lot of, like, silly things people say. The cast is great. And it's just a lot of fun to watch. I really liked it. And it was a good 4th of July watch, but I think it's also just, like, fun. And that's the other thing. I would be cool with more of these from Netflix. Like, high concept, expensive animation. Because I wouldn't see this playing well in a theater. But I think if Netflix is just willing to throw money at stuff, and they could either make Extraction or make this. Because I like this a lot. So, yeah, it's pretty fun. For people that don't know, it's just like a very, very silly action movie retelling of the founding of America where, like, Abraham Lincoln and George Washington were friends. So, like, that's kind of what you expect. But also, yeah, it gets really wild near the end. And, yeah, it's fun. Anybody got to plug?
Roses and Rejections. We're still covering The Bachelorette. We're gonna cover Too Hot to Handle, since Michelle and I just finished watching that. And then, we got a lot of stuff coming up. 2 weeks, it'll be Sexy Beasts. And then in August, it'll be Bachelor in Paradise and F-Boy Island. So we'll have a lot of stuff to cover on Roses and Rejections. So,
nice.
Tune in on the Pop Break Network feed to check all that out. And follow us at Roses Rejections on Twitter. We usually live tweet the episodes, which just involves, like, retweeting memes and shit like that. So, and sometimes making our own memes. So,
yeah. Which one do you think is going to be better? Animal Sex one or F-Boy Island one?
F-Boy Island. I think Sexy Beast is going to run out of runway real fast, but I think the shittiness of the people on F-Boy Island will, like, carry it, similar to how Too Hot to Handle carried it, because the people are the absolute worst.
Every time you say the name of F-Boy Island, I get madder and madder about what cowards HBO are.
Yeah.
What, just call it Fuckboy Island?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's pretty embarrassing to say F-Boy. Like, it's like saying H-E double hockey sticks island or something.
It's also HBO, right? What are they hiding behind? Like, just fucking do it.
Yeah. However, not to be fair, but I do think it's pretty wild. Like, I think we could be there. This animal show could be crazy, and like we wouldn't know it. You know, like the trailers are all like, "Isn't it weird that they look like animals?" But like, what if they're all also lunatics, and we just don't know because that's not the part of the show that's being advertised to us. Like maybe they're hiding something real special down there.
What if one of them is a real animal person?
Oh my god, that would be so great. And then you like take off the mask and it's like Joe Millionaire and it's like, actually I wasn't wearing a mask. Do you love me anymore? And they're like, no. And then they I don't know. Okay, cries. Or that rabbit cries or whatever. Some of the animals aren't even like animals. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, it's super weird.
I can't wait. What about you, Diggins? Anything to recommend?
You mean
Or
to plug?
Yeah, plug. I always say it for some reason to you specifically because I get back in the rhythm and then it's like, Diggins, your turn. What do you have to plug?
I mean, I have the usuals. You know, I have my newsletter at alittleperspective.substack.com. Relatively recently came out with a piece on Disco Elysium, a video game I like a lot. Speaking of Disco Elysium, I stream it on my Twitch sometimes, twitch.tv/thisisanodname. And I also reviewed episode 5 of Loki for the Pop Break. So you can check that out at thepopbreak.com and see my review for that 5th episode. Spoilers, I thought it was pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like...
Can't wait for the finale. So
yeah,
excited.
Finale's Tuesday. Do you guys think we'll record the Black Widow episode before then? Probably not, right?
Finale's Wednesday?
Yeah, so we might be able to talk about Loki a little bit. Well, Wednesday, yeah, I guess like Wednesday. I mean, I watched it at 3 a.m. on Tuesday, but the rest of the normal world, like, we might be able to talk about that on next week's podcast, too.
I will have time. I don't know if DJ will.
Yeah, it's up to DJ.
Pending. We will discuss further.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I mean, it's like, 45 minutes long. That's a nice thing. It's not movie length, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So, yeah, next week might be Marvel Palooza with Black Widow and Loki.
All right.
Whoa.
And then the week after that, the Space Jam movie where Porky Pig raps and they do Matrix. And, oh, my God, I'm going to have an
Yeah, Speedy
Iron
Gonzalez
Giant's
does
back,
Matrix
baby.
stuff.
Yeah.
And all the Clockwork Orange gang. I can't wait to watch them do their thing in this children's movie.
Yeah, I hope they recreate scenes for just all the classic movies, like the Clockwork Orange scene with, like, I don't know, Pepe Le Pew, I guess, if we had to pick one. But also, who's who's the English one? Is there an English like Looney Tune?
Oh gosh, is there?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
None that are like big time Looney Tunes.
The opera singer Bugs Bunny fucks with? I don't know.
That's Elmer Fudd, right?
Yeah, it's just Elmer Fudd playing a part.
Yeah. It's part of his scheme, but also, like, yeah, there's a couple, the fact that, like, there's a Pepe Le Pew, there's a Southern one, and everybody else is pretty much American. I guess the Tasmanian Devil, but, like, yeah, not a super worldly group.
Marvin the Martian's Martians.
That is true.
That's true.
Speaking of, that's something I can't wait to read. For the for the book club, Patreon book club, this month we're doing Looney Tunes meet the DC Universe, which is a series of, like, one-shots where it's, like, one comic where Martian Manhunter and Marvin the Martian meet, and one comic where Elmer Fudd and Batman meet. So it's supposed to be very fun, regardless of the quality of Space Jam. It'll be a nice treat. But yeah, so that will be great. Until next week, I am at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Woohoo!
Bye, we love you.